and sent her off with respect. Compared to chess, which required two people to strategize and compete, Zhang Fan preferred writing and playing the zither, as he could entertain himself alone. Of course, learning something on your own doesn't count unless you can teach it to others as well. Zhang Fan has already trained several of his attendants, allowing them to practice meditation, read, write, play chess, play instruments, and paint together during their free time. Aside from a few who accompany him on mountain hikes or handle daily shopping, most of the time, everyone is quite idle. Their talents and perseverance vary, with the best among them being Xiuzhu and Cizhu, who have made some progress in writing and have taken a liking to chess as their favorite pastime. Although their musical skills remain average, each day passes quietly, seemingly dull, yet fleeting like a galloping horse. Li Hong, the neighbor of Tsuwei Palace, has moved back to the city for an unknown period, but in Zhang Fan's memory, it feels like a long time since he came to say goodbye. Now, Zhang Fan feels as if he has been in the game for too long, easily blending into this era, often forgetting that he is merely a passerby in a game. Living in this manner does not completely isolate him from the world. News from outside occasionally trickles back through those who go out for errands, though those matters seem very distant from here. In the first year of the new era, on the 9th month, a significant event occurred. The Minister of Works, the Duke of Britain, Li Ji, defeated the Kingdom of Goryeo, capturing the city of Pyongyang and establishing the Anong Protectorate, dividing it into 42 states. This was the biggest news in recent times. The past achievements of this elder statesman were recalled, and people realized that the founding-era heroes had gradually exited the stage, with Li Ji being one of the few who remained alive. In the second year, on the first day of the 6th month, a solar eclipse occurred. In Kuaizhou, strong winds and heavy rain caused the sea to overflow in Yongjia, submerging 840 houses in the counties of Angu, drowning 9,070 people, and killing 500 cattle, while damaging 150 hectares of crops. In Jizhou, floods destroyed thousands of homes, prompting the court to send officials for disaster relief. In the 7th month of autumn, droughts plagued 19 states including Jiannan, Yi, Lu, and others, leading to a total of 367,690 households suffering from crop failure, prompting the dispatch of officials to provide aid. The great victory over Goryeo became Li Ji's final legacy. On the 12th month, on the 5th day, the Minister of Works, the Prince's tutor, and the Duke of Britain, Li Ji, passed away at the age of 76. That winter, there was no snowfall at all. Life in the game was easy and leisurely, making time seem to pass slowly. 2 years felt like a fleeting moment, and Zhang Fan began to blur the memories of reality, as if they belonged to a past life. The alarm clock in the game pod finally served its purpose, reminding Zhang Fan that it was time to return to reality. Previously, he would be woken by the alarm to go to work, but without the pressure of clocking in. He had set the alarm to the longest duration, and after several uses, it finally came in handy. Stepping out of the game pod, Zhang Fan felt as if he had traveled through time. Memories from 6 hours ago suddenly surged back into his mind. Checking the time, it was nearly midnight. Remembering that Li Hong mentioned finishing work at 12, Zhang Fan suddenly felt a strong desire to see her as soon as possible. He changed his clothes and went out towards their hospital. The neighborhood was empty at night, with no one around. The security guard in the booth at the entrance was sleeping. Once he reached the main street, there were a few more people around, and an occasional car would pass by, but the empty driver's seat looked a bit eerie. It took about 15 to 16 minutes to walk to the hospital, and he occasionally encountered 1 or 2 pedestrians. They would glance at his leisurely pace as if trying to confirm whether he had just been drinking. Seeing that it was midnight, he sent a WeChat message to Li Hong, telling her to wait for him at the hospital entrance. He sat on the wide stone platform at the side of the hospital entrance but felt uncomfortable, so he lay down instead, with his hands behind his head. He looked at the stars in the sky. The memories of reality had completely returned to his mind, yet he still felt a distant sense of alienation. In the game, he grew up in the Tungwang Pavilion. His mother had passed away early, and his father left the capital when he was very young, leaving him with no concrete memories of his parents. In this world, his parents had also permanently left him. He felt lonely in both worlds, as if they were both very far away. Just before finishing her shift, an emergency case came in, causing Li Hong to finish work 10 minutes later than usual. Such occurrences were common for them. After changing her clothes, she noticed a new message on her phone from Zhang Fan. Waiting for you at the hospital entrance. As she stepped out the door, she instinctively glanced to the left and noticed someone lying on the stone platform. Upon entering, she saw Zhang Fan lying there, staring up at the stars. Just as she was about to kick him, she suddenly noticed tears streaming down his face. Zhang Fan, what is wrong with you? Oh, it's nothing. You're off work now, so let us go home. Why are you crying if everything is fine? Did you go to see a movie again? I'm fine. I didn't go to see a movie. I just suddenly felt very lonely and ended up crying without realizing it. Li Hong stepped forward, pulled him up, and hugged his shoulders tightly. You have me. So how can you still feel lonely? Let us go home. When they got home, Nothing happened that Li Hong had anticipated would make her blush. Zhang Fan took off his outer clothes and quickly fell asleep on the bed. However, Li Hong lay in bed tossing and turning, unable to sleep. She wondered if she had been a bit harsh on this man. But reflecting on it, she hadn't done anything excessive, right? Was it her demand for no intimacy for 3 months that upset him? Looking at his expression, it didn't seem like that was the issue. After thinking for a long time and not coming to any conclusions, Li Hong fell asleep in a haze of confusion. Chapter 71. Study hard. A dreamless night passed. When Zhang Fan woke up, it was just dawn. All the negative emotions from yesterday had vanished. Seeing Li Hong sleeping beside him with a frown, he felt a bit guilty and gently smoothed her brow with his hand. Then he softly kissed her lips and happily got out of bed. A new gym opened near the community, and this time of day is the busiest, especially the treadmills, which are lined up with dozens of people almost fully occupied. I found an available one at the end, set the speed, and started jogging briskly. After half an hour, I had run just over 12 kilometers, 2 kilometers more than last time. I felt a slight warmth all over, slowed down to a light jog for another minute, and stepped off the treadmill. You have good stamina. Have you trained for marathons? A woman dressed in sportswear stepped off the adjacent treadmill and curiously asked. I glanced at her. She looked unfamiliar. No, I just jog occasionally in the morning. I replied. Hello, let me introduce myself. I'm Gao Fan. I also live in this community, and I'm a journalist. She confidently extended her hand for a handshake. After shaking hands, I introduced myself. I'm Zhang Fan, a programmer. Can't tell. There aren't many programmers with your level of fitness. I thought you were a professional athlete. She remarked. I've only been working out regularly recently. My stamina used to be quite average. After leaving the gym, I went to a breakfast shop and had a bowl of tofu pudding and 2 fried dough sticks. Then packed a portion for Li Hong to take home. When I returned home, Li Hong was still asleep. I took a shower and headed to the study to go online. The game had been online for less than a day, with over 1.2 million players and more than 5 million registered users, generating over 200 million in revenue, and all metrics showed no signs of stopping their upward trend. I closed the game backend and opened the materials I had collected a few days ago to continue studying. Most of these texts on Buddhism and Taoism, the 24 histories, and various miscellaneous historical records were written in classical Chinese, which seemed easy to read but was quite challenging to understand. Fortunately, with the internet, many confusing points could be searched for answers. Whether the answers found were truly accurate, I couldn't tell. It ultimately depended on personal interpretation. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring this information into the game, so I had to rely on my strong memory to memorize it first and then digest it slowly in the game. As time there was quite ample. After studying for over an hour, I got up to stretch my body, and Li Hong had already woken up and was doing her daily yoga practice in the living room. Teach me how to do this. I want to try, I said. You? With those old arms and legs, can you manage? She teased. Don't underestimate me. I'm a martial arts expert, and my flexibility is better than most. I proudly replied. Then show me that pose. Li Hong said while demonstrating a boat pose. Sitting upright in the center of the mat, she bent her knees, raised her lower legs upwards while tilting her body back, slowly straightened her knees, bringing her legs together and tightening them into a V shape, extended her arms forward, elongated her spine, maintaining balance while looking straight ahead. This pose looked simple, but very few could do it perfectly. For me, it wasn't difficult, though it required significant strength in the waist, abdomen, back, and legs. Li Hong held the pose for 3 minutes before stopping, while I managed to hold it for 5 minutes. After going through the individual session, Li Hong couldn't help but look at him in a new light. Your body is truly extraordinary. No wonder Lu Yu and the others always beg you to compete. You're only realizing it now, really late to the game. Speaking of Lu Yu, it reminded me that there's a competition today. I wonder if they're still looking for me. I've stood them up a few times already. Why not just call and ask? I won T. If they need me, they'll come looking for me. I'm just helping out, can't be too proactive. Alright then, you can wait here. I'm off to play some games. Zhang Fan, I booked 3 gaming pods, 1 for you, 1 for each of your parents, so they can play later. Li Hong shot him a look. Why spend that money? 1 is enough for us. My parents are too old for this. They won't play. Zhang Fan, if you don't buy it, they won't have anything to play with. They'll definitely hesitate to spend money. Since I bought it, it shouldn't go to waste. They'll play it eventually. They're nearing retirement. They should develop some hobbies. Li Hong, by the way, I haven't asked you which era you're in the game and what you're doing. It's the era of Emperor Li Ji. In a little over 10 years, he'll be gone, and Wu Zetian's time will begin. I'm focused on my cultivation. Time flies by quickly. How fast is quickly? I feel like I spend several days in there when I play. Li Hong asked curiously. The game officially launched yesterday. I met a fellow gamer online. We're in the same era. We originally planned to meet in the game. Zhang Fan sighed at this point. What's wrong? Did you not meet? Or was it a particularly ugly female gamer? Zhang Fan piqued Li Hong's curiosity. I spent over 2 years in the game yesterday. I almost forgot what I looked like outside. Coming out of the game felt like waking from a dream. It was really surreal. No wonder you insisted on picking me up from work and even cried outside the hospital. It broke my heart to see that. Li Hong realized. The gaming pod is entirely controlled by brainwaves, with a high degree of realism. The feedback from the game has a certain hypnotic effect on the brain, which is why time feels different in there. Playing on the phone doesn't have this effect. It usually corresponds closely to the real world, with only a slight time difference. So, you and that female gamer never met, and you've already missed the chance? Li Hong understood. She's just an ordinary gamer. You don't need to keep emphasizing that she's female. I'm just being factual. Alright, I won't bother you anymore. I'm going to play. The two of them went to the study. Li Hong entered the gaming pod, while Zheng Fan continued to review his materials. In the midst of it, he received a call from Lu Yu, reminding him not to forget about the competition at noon. Zheng Fan agreed. With 3 hours until noon, he continued to focus on his studies. The old Book of Tang has 200 volumes, while the new Book of Tang has 225 volumes. Two historical texts of the same dynasty with significant differences. The old Book of Tang was commissioned during the later Jin of the Five Dynasties by Shi Jingtang, and the materials from the early Tang period were relatively well preserved, while the later materials were severely damaged, with less content and chaotic organization. The compilation took only 4 years, resulting in many errors and repetitions. During the reign of Emperor Renzong in the Song dynasty, figures like Song Qi and Ouyang Xiu took charge, and, after 17 years, finally completed the new Book of Tang. The selection of materials was extensive, especially in the chapters detailing various aspects of the dynasty, making the content richer and more comprehensive. However, a drawback of the new Book of Tang was that the two main editors had strong subjective biases, leading to significant omissions of materials. Many entries in the old Book of Tang were directly drawn from early Tang historical sources, but in the new Book of Tang, more than half of the content was cut, resulting in many missing pieces of information. To understand the essence of the Tang dynasty, both of these books are indispensable. The classical Chinese text is inherently difficult to comprehend and requires thorough reading and memorization, which can be quite a challenge for Zheng Fan. However, everyone needs something to occupy their time. Without work, one cannot just idle away the days. Moreover, memorizing this content while playing games is also a form of learning, which is quite good. Chapter 72. The calm before the storm. At noon, Li Hong and Zheng Fan went together to the martial arts club, Yanwu Hall. The matchups had already been announced. On the Yanwu Hall side, Li Fuxing would face the Thai fighter Gai Wan, while Zheng Fan was set to compete against the Mongolian fighter Agula. Agula was about 1.8 meters tall and weighed at least 200 pounds. With a thick neck and limbs, clearly a skilled wrestler, which made Zheng Fan a bit apprehensive. He was confident in winning and aimed for a clean victory without inflicting too much harm, which would test his skills. Recently, he had been studying books on martial arts and had gained some understanding of human meridians and acupoints, knowing that striking certain points could quickly incapacitate an opponent. The challenge lay in the lack of practical experience. If the strikes were too light, they would be ineffective, and if too heavy, they could be fatal. So far, his most reliable technique against such heavyweight opponents was to use the same method as last time, striking Agula's Tanzhong acupoint with a collapsing fist to stun him while minimizing actual damage. As the match officially began, Li Fuxing and Jin Juanqi were already in combat. Jin Juanqi, over 1.7 meters tall and weighing over 70 kilograms, had a standard build, which presented a significant difference against Li Fuxing, who weighed over 90 kilograms. Who do you think will win? Li Hong asked nearby. Li Fuxing has a considerable advantage, but it's hard to say if he will win, Zheng Fan replied. Lu Yu, sitting with his girlfriend, lawyer Chen Fei, chimed in. This Jin Juanqi is nothing special. He's just showing off and bullying novices. Just watch. The situation unfolded as Lu Yu predicted. Jin Juanqi missed several flashy kicks and began to get nervous, allowing Li Fuxing to land a heavy punch that knocked him to the ground. After a few seconds, Jin Juanqi stood up but lacked the initial vigor, continuously dodging around the ring. Li Fuxing seized the opportunity to knock him down again, and this time, Jin Juanqi chose to give up instead of getting back up. Chen Fei remarked discontentedly, he looks good, but turns out to be all show and no substance. Lu Yu dismissed her comment, saying, that's all fine. But if it were about picking up girls at Hohai or Sanlitun, Li Fuxing wouldn't even stand a chance. Have you seen that? No need to see it in person. That guy treats the competition like a game. He has a high-paying job and plenty of money, and he's handsome too, so charming the ladies is a breeze for him. As they spoke, the second match began. Two fighters from a neighboring country faced off using their traditional striking technique, both having similar height and weight, exchanging blows with intensity. Blood flying everywhere. After a grueling 5 rounds, neither could knock out the other, and in the end, one won by a slight point advantage. The martial arts club celebrated their 2 victories, securing the championship for the season, while the rival club had to settle for second place. There was no need to worry about the match between Zhang Fan and the fighter from Mongolia anymore. After leaving the club, Li Hong went to work while Zhang Fan headed home. On the way, he received a message from an online friend. "Why haven't you come to see me? Did you receive the book I left for you?" Zhang Fan replied, "I can't understand it. What's the use of this book?" The friend responded, "It's called Seeking Immortality. Is this a cultivation manual?" Zhang Fan replied, "Sort of. If you practice well, maybe you can meet me in the game." The friend asked, "What? Are you in the game already?" Zhang Fan replied, "I'm 2 years ahead of your current game time." The friend was surprised. "Can it be played like that?" Zhang Fan continued, "If you have any questions while practicing, you can find Xiaozhu at the villa. I've instructed her to guide you." The friend thanked him. Once home, Zhang Fan entered the game pod and started the game. Life in the game was as leisurely as ever, and everyone had gotten used to this way of living. However, Zhang Fan was ready to take some action. He summoned the captain of the guards, Wei Shun, and asked, "Is there a strong bow in the residence? Can I use the 3-stone bow? As far as I know, that's the strongest here." Wei Shun replied. Zhang Fan ordered, "Go look for a stronger one outside. The stronger, the better. I have use for it." A few days later, the prince came to visit. He smiled and asked, "I heard that Uncle Chi wants a good bow. Are you planning to hunt big game in the mountains?" Zhang Fan got straight to the point. "When things are quiet, it's time to act. After 20 years of idle living, I have now learned enough to serve the country." The prince signaled to his attendants to bring over a long bow, which was longer and thicker than the usual 2-stone bow. "How about this one? It's a 6-stone bow. Very few can draw it fully, but unfortunately, it's not very useful in battle." Zhang Fan replied, "Let's test it at the training ground." He took the bow and weighed it in his hands before stepping outside. The training ground was spacious, about the size of 2 soccer fields, originally meant for polo matches. The guards practiced mounted archery, and a row of targets stood at various distances. Without further ado, Zhang Fan drew the bow and shot an arrow at the farthest target. The prince had tried this bow himself and found it nearly impossible to draw, while one of the guards could barely manage to pull it halfway, turning red in the face. However, Zhang Fan drew the bow with ease, as if he were simply sipping tea. A guard had already ridden over to retrieve the target, which was pierced in the center by an arrow, with only the feathers sticking out. Uncle Seven's marksmanship. "It seems he hasn't used his full strength yet," Li Hong speculated. Zhang Fan smiled and said, "Feel free to share your thoughts and give it a try." He summoned his own guard and instructed him briefly. The guard then rode off in the distance, bringing back a target that was set up almost twice as far as the previous one, at a distance of over 400 paces, and even placed his armor on it. Holding the bow in his left hand and picking up 3 arrows with his right, Zhang Fan took a standard stance, slowly drew the bow to its full length, and aimed. With a buzzing sound, all 3 arrows were shot out simultaneously. Of course, they were not launched at the same time, but rather in rapid succession, as he drew the bow 3 times in an instant. The sound of the bowstring merged into one continuous note. While everyone was still in shock, the guard in the distance was already running back with the target. The target was placed in front of Li Hong, with the 3 arrows lined up neatly from top to bottom, evenly spaced, piercing through the finely crafted armor and deeply embedding themselves in the bullseye. In the summer of the first year of Xianheng, the Tubo forces captured 18 states, including Baizhou in the western regions, and allied with the kingdom of Yutian to break through the city of Gizaboan, cutting off the communication between the central plains and the 4 towns of Anxi. The court appointed General Shui Ringui of the Right Way Guard as the grand commander for the campaign to Luoshu, with Prince Li Xuanwan of Linhuai as the Right Rongwei general, and General Ashina Daojian as his deputy, leading an army of 50,000 to attack Tubo. At the age of 20, Zhang Fan had never led an army before and initially thought that going into battle would be very difficult. To his surprise, Li Hong had great confidence in him and strongly recommended him. Given that the Tang dynasty had achieved numerous victories in recent years, he hoped to gain some military merit through this campaign. Emperor Li Ji was also generous, directly granting him the rank of Right Rongwei general, slightly lower than the commander Shui Ringui. After all, he was a member of the royal family, and others had no choice but to accept it. He knew that this battle had ended in a disastrous defeat. In the Battle of Defichuan, Shui Ringui had suffered heavy losses and was demoted to commoner. There were many analyses of this defeat in later years, and Zhang Fan had read quite a few, which gave him some confidence. After receiving the imperial order, Zhang Fan had his bodyguard Captain Wei Shun select 10 guards from his residence, and then they went together to report to the military camp. The main force of this expedition consisted of the veteran troops who had followed Shui Ringui in previous campaigns, totaling 30,000. As for his 2 deputy commanders, Right Rongwei General Li Xuanwan, who was also Zhang Fan's game identity, and Right Wei General Ashina Daojian, both were noble offspring, each leading a contingent of 10,000 troops. Shui Ringui, now 56 years old, was a seasoned general with over 30 years of combat experience and remarkable achievements, and with the passing of Li Ji last year, he had become one of the few generals in the Tang dynasty capable of intimidating the enemy. Although Ashina-Daojian was a Turkic person, his father surrendered to the Tang dynasty and married Princess Hingyang, the daughter of Li Yuan. In his 30s, despite carrying the title of a Turkic, he was actually born and raised in Chang'an and was nothing more than a typical young aristocrat. He was also a distant cousin of Prince Zheng Fan. And this expedition was partly to earn military merit and secure rewards for his Turkic followers. At this time, the Tang army was at the peak of its combat power, not only relying on a few historically renowned generals, but also benefiting from the significant role of the phubbing system. Taking the Right Rong Guard assigned to Zheng Fan as an example, he was a temporary commander responsible for issuing orders, with 2 generals beneath him who jointly commanded the troops. They were in charge of training and defending the imperial city during peacetime and leading the army in battle during wartime. The Right Rong Guard was one of the 16 military offices established in the early Tang dynasty, previously known as the Right Leading Army Guard, currently comprising 25,000 soldiers, with only 10,000 accompanying Zheng Fan on this expedition. The deputy commander, Lu Da, along with a long history officer, a recording officer, 2 military officers for storage, 2 for infantry, 1 for cavalry, and 1 for armor, in addition to 10 captains and several dozen lieutenants, led the army. Military strength was paramount. Zheng Fan had Lu Da gather the troops and showcase the longbow given to him by Li Hong, demonstrating his archery skills once again. The soldiers cheered loudly, and those officers who had doubts about him quickly fell silent, at least on the surface. The Grand Army stretched for over 10 miles, and their marching speed within the Tang territory was swift. Shui Ringgui, Zheng Fan, and Ashina-Daojian each commanded their troops without needing to meet daily. Having studied many military texts and strategies from this era, Zheng Fan was not pretentious. During the march, he connected theory to practice, seeking advice from Lu Da and other military staff whenever he encountered something he didn't understand. He quickly gained a preliminary understanding of this army. After more than a month of marching, they arrived at Shanxing, near present-day Xining in Qinghai province. Guo Daifeng, stationed at Shanxing with 50,000 troops, joined their ranks, and the army continued to advance to Defichuan on the southern side of Qinghai Lake. Shui Ringgui gathered the generals for a meeting to deploy specific action strategies. The results aligned closely with historical records. Shui Ringgui understood that the combined forces of Tubo and Tian had the advantage in numbers and the geographical benefits of the plateau, waiting to take advantage of the situation. The Tang army, being smaller, needed to achieve a swift victory to succeed. Their target, Wuhai City, was along a mountainous route where transport was slow, and moving the main force would take too long and risk losing the opportunity for battle. Shui Ringgui decided to personally lead 30,000 lightly equipped troops to launch a rapid assault. He left Zheng Fan, Ashina-Daojian, and Guo Daifeng to guard the supplies and provisions, instructing them to fortify their positions at Dayfiling, constructing defensive works to serve as a forward base that could both attack and retreat. It seemed Shui Ringgui did not expect much from them, only requiring them to secure the rear and supply the necessary provisions. Among the 3 left behind, Zheng Fan was the youngest but held the highest status, leading the group with Ashina-Daojian and Guo Daifeng showing him at least superficial respect, which was sufficient. Initially, Zheng Fan thought Guo Daifeng might cause trouble, but to his surprise, the old man was quite pragmatic and obediently set up camp as instructed. They were stationed between 2 mountain ridges, with Zheng Fan and Ashina-Daojian camping on the left and right, while Guo Daifeng camped behind them, firmly holding this strategic location. News continuously came back from the front, reporting that the 2 armies encountered each other at the river mouth. The troops from Tubo were caught off guard and suffered a crushing defeat, with heavy casualties and losses of over 10,000 cattle and sheep. Shui Ringgui took advantage of the victory to occupy Wuhai City and then sent a military order for them to lead their forces to provide reinforcements. Zheng Fan realized that the critical moment had arrived. Luan Qinling was waiting for them with over 200,000 troops at the front. Not going would mean disobeying military orders, and it was also not feasible to leave Shui Ringgui without support. Preparing to advance for reinforcements meant being ready for hard battles. Gathering the generals for a meeting, Zheng Fan shared his speculation. Ashina-Daojian expressed his willingness to follow orders, while Guo Daifeng raised doubts, with General Shui firmly holding the front. Shouldn't we hurry to support him? He believed that with General Shui's strength, it would be no problem for Wuhai City to hold out for a month. We just need to advance step by step, preventing Luan Qinling from taking advantage of any opportunity. If anything happens, I will take responsibility. With Zheng Fan saying this, Guo Daifeng had no choice but to comply. Their army advanced slowly, covering only about 30 miles in 3 days, and then communication with the front was completely cut off. Zheng Fan knew Luan Qinling must be nearby. At this point, their troops had already exited the valley, facing a rare flat expanse where hundreds of thousands of soldiers could be positioned for a decisive battle. He ordered the army to set up camp outside the valley and prepare for a strong defense, halting further advance and waiting for Lun Qinling to arrive. He dispatched the commander of the guards, Wei Shun, to scout enemy conditions. A day passed, but the enemy did not come. 2 days passed, and the enemy still did not arrive. 3 days passed, and the enemy was still absent. At first, everyone remained patient, but after 5 days, Ashina Daojian and Gui Daifeng came to find Zheng Fan. Your Highness, how much longer do we have to wait? The supplies for General Shui's 30,000 troops must be running low. Earlier reports mentioned capturing thousands of cattle and sheep, and Wuhai City surely had food supplies. You can rest assured, as long as our army is here, General Shui has nothing to worry about. Zheng Fan, dressed in plain clothes, sat cross-legged, speaking calmly and not paying much attention to the seemingly anxious expressions of the two. His composure also influenced them, making it difficult for them to say anything further. So they withdrew and continued to wait. Another 5 days passed, and Wei Shun returned from his reconnaissance. He had gone out with 5 guards and 2 guides, but returned with 3 fewer guards and only 1 guide remaining. After listening to Wei Shun's report, Zheng Fan knew that the moment for a decisive battle was approaching. Chapter 74. Decisive Victory. 2 days later, the Tubo army finally arrived. Groups of troops continually came over, setting up camp about 5 miles away from them. The vast number of soldiers quickly occupied the fields visible from their location, and the numbers continued to increase. They were positioned at a higher elevation, allowing them to observe enemy movements from within the camp. Gui Daifeng, a seasoned veteran, had previously looked down on Zheng Fan, feeling compelled to yield only due to his status. Now, however, he could not help but admire the foresight of this young man. The Tang army's weapons, armor, and combat strength far surpassed those of the enemy. If they were to encounter such a large-scale ambush during their march, the advantage of their formation would be compromised, making the outcome unpredictable. Now, the enemy is getting anxious, attempting to leverage their numbers here, which is a miscalculation. Ashina Daojian took the initiative to request to battle. Your Highness, the enemy has come from afar, and their formation is unstable. I am willing to lead 2,000 men to charge. All right, go and give it a try. Remember, do not get entangled in battle, ordered Zheng Fan, who was already familiar with the basic rules of warfare at this time, in an orderly manner. Ashina Daojian led a contingent of Turkic warriors, renowned for their horsemanship, charging out of the camp like the wind towards the enemy. Lun Qinling, a famous general of the Tubo, was prepared for such a situation and sent out 5,000 men to engage. When Ashina Daojian found no advantage, he fired a volley of arrows and withdrew with his troops, resulting in casualties on both sides. The enemy's camp was busy throughout the day, with reinforcements arriving continuously in the evening. The next day, the Tubo did not take the initiative to attack. Their numbers continued to grow. Zheng Fan was unfazed, thinking, if they want to drag this out, I will accompany them to the end. This continued for the 3rd day, and the 4th day was no different. On the 5th day, Lun Qinling finally lost patience and sent out 20,000 troops to form a line and challenge. Zheng Fan ordered all units to hold their positions and not to engage. If they wished to come and die, so be it. The Tubo's 20,000 troops stood in the sunlight for an hour, facing the solid fortifications of the Tang army, and without attacking, they began to retreat in disgrace. The spectators believed it was time to send someone out to fight, but Zheng Fan remained calm as ever, showing no reaction until the enemy retreated completely to their camp. Unbeknownst to them, this calm and composed young man had become the backbone for the other generals, who firmly believed he would lead the army to victory. With hundreds of thousands of troops consuming vast amounts of resources daily, the Tubo, despite being a nation of soldiers, could not sustain such continuous losses. The appetites of cattle, sheep, and horses far exceed those of humans, and no pasture could withstand so many livestock. On the 6th day, the Tubo emerged from their camp early to form ranks. Lun Qinling was determined to finish this in one battle, stating that if the Tang army did not emerge, he would breach their fortifications and would no longer waste time with this young man, not knowing how long the enemy could endure. The Tang army had not been idle during these days. They had been building layers of fortifications, digging trenches, and setting up pits for horses, all in preparation for this day. The Tubo's mass assault lasted an entire day, resulting in over 10,000 casualties, but they finally breached the first line of Tang fortifications, prompting an orderly retreat to the 2nd line. At this time, illumination at night relied entirely on lanterns and torches, and people's night vision was generally poor, making night assaults extremely challenging. Lun Qinling found himself in a dilemma, deciding to remain in place and continue the assault the next day, knowing the Tang army would not be idle at night, which would certainly incur losses. However, retreating back to the camp after losing over 10,000 men to capture a position would mean giving it back, which felt like a day's effort wasted. After much consideration, Lun Qinling ultimately decided to hold his ground, reasoning that if they were not effective at night, the enemy would also suffer the same fate. The casualties for the Tang army during a day of defensive positions were minimal, and their morale was high, while the forces from the opposing region, after a prolonged assault, found their spirits low. After a night of calm, Zheng Fan arranged for the soldiers who had defended during the day to rest well and sent out fresh troops to handle nighttime patrols, with no intention of engaging in night battles. On the 7th day, the opposing forces sent an additional 50,000 troops from their main camp to continue the assault, suffering losses of 20,000. The Tang army held their ground fiercely throughout the day, abandoning the second line of defense and retreating to the last stronghold. Behind the third stronghold lay the main camp of the Tang forces, with no further retreat possible. Hearing that the opposing commander was a young man barely 20 years old, Luan Xinling felt he had been overly cautious. Had he known earlier to launch a full-scale attack, they might have secured victory by now. On the 8th day, Luan Xinling left only 20,000 troops to defend the main camp and committed the entire army to a decisive battle. After an hour of fierce fighting, the opposing forces made several attempts to storm the third stronghold but were repelled each time. With continuous attacks, Luan Xinling personally oversaw the battle from the first stronghold, dispatching his generals to launch assaults, even executing a few commanders for their lack of effectiveness. The enemy stronghold was now on the brink of collapse. The distance between the two commanders had never been closer since the battle began, now less than 600 paces apart, with 300 paces between them being the contested ground. The opposing forces, willing to sustain losses of 5-1 or even 10-1, had sacrificed over 40,000 men and were on the verge of breaching the Tang army's final line of defense. They firmly believed that once they broke into the enemy camp, the Tang forces would crumble and surrender. The main generals of the Tang army observed the battle from a high vantage point. Zheng Fan did not go to the front lines as there were plenty of capable warriors in the army who did not require his direct involvement. Ashina Daojian, how prepared are your 10,000 troops? Zheng Fan inquired, reporting to the prince. My men have been itching to fight these past few days and are ready at any moment. Ashina Daojian replied, go prepare for battle. Once I give the order, lead the cavalry straight into the enemy's center. This subordinate will obey. Ashina Daojian went to get ready. Guo Daifeng, this subordinate is here. Order your troops to launch an all-out attack, leaving no reserves. Now, immediately, right away. Understood. The Tang army's counterattack began, and the forces that had been suppressed unleashed their full strength, quickly driving the enemy from the third stronghold. A large number of Tang soldiers surged out from the third stronghold, attacking the second stronghold and catching the opposing forces off guard. Zheng Fan, along with his guards, stood atop the third stronghold, drawing his bow and shooting 10 arrows in quick succession, killing Luan Xinling and all 10 of his generals without exception. The Tang army's position was elevated, and many witnessed their commander demonstrating great prowess, erupting in cheers that boosted morale. In contrast, the opposing forces found their command structure nearly dismantled, leading to chaos. What was left to fight for? It was time to flee. With the order given, the gates of the Tang camp swung open wide, and Ashina Daojian led the cavalry charging directly into the enemy's center, shattering their last will to resist. In an instant, the tide of battle turned. The morale of the Tang army soared, while the opposing forces collapsed like a house of cards. On the battlefield, around 70 to 80,000 troops from Tibet desperately fled to the rear, causing chaos among the more than 100,000 troops supporting them. Ashina Daojian led the cavalry like wolves entering a flock of sheep, charging forward recklessly. Whenever the Tibetans gathered, they would immediately rush in to cut them down, not allowing them to form an effective resistance. At this moment, the large camp at the rear of the Tibetans was also set ablaze, revealing the presence of the opposing forces. It was the Right Guard General, the Grand Commander of the Lhasa campaign, Shui Ringgui, who led his troops into battle. With no way to escape in front and pursuers behind, the Tibetans began to kneel and surrender. This battle ended in a great victory, with over 100,000 Tibetan soldiers annihilated and more than 200,000 captured from the Tibetan and Tuyuan allied forces, along with countless cattle and sheep. Subsequently, Shui Ringgui took advantage of the momentum to march into Lhasa city, where the last few thousand Tibetan troops were also defeated, capturing 2,800 nobles, including the Tibetan king. The Tibetan state was destroyed. After this major battle, the Tibetan influence completely withdrew from the western regions, and the Tang dynasty regained control over the 4 towns of Anxi. From the time he led the campaign in May until the major battle at Lunkenling in August, and with a series of subsequent actions, the war had completely ended by the time they returned to Chang'an, which was already the spring of the following year. Chapter 75, Changing History. The army held a grand ceremony to present the captured prisoners, and Shui Ringgui reached the peak of his life, with the destruction of the Tibetan state eliminating a major enemy for the Tang dynasty. However, these matters were no longer of concern to Zheng Fan. He had handed over his military authority a month in advance and returned to his villa at Mount Zhongnan, continuing to live a leisurely life in seclusion. The detailed account of this battle had long been reported in official documents, and Li Ji was certainly pleased that another capable warrior had emerged from the Li family. Li Hong, who had strongly recommended him, also saw his prestige rise significantly. Zheng Fan expressed his unwillingness to accept any official position, wanting only to return and continue his quiet cultivation, which garnered praise from all corners of the court. All participants in the battle were rewarded according to their merits. Shui Rigui was granted the title of Duke of Pinghua, the left general of the left cavalry guard, and governor of Yuzhou. Zheng Fan was granted the title of Prince Zhao, with a fief of 1,500 households, while Ashina Daojian was made Duke of Longxi and the left general of the left reserve guard. The other officers and generals were also rewarded based on their performance, leading to widespread satisfaction. Life returned to normal, but Zheng Fan's status in the game underwent a significant change. The Tang dynasty had been established for over 50 years, and princes capable of leading troops into battle had only appeared during the founding period. Now another one had emerged, and his deeds were widely celebrated by returning soldiers. Coupled with his long-term seclusion at Mount Zhongnan, the stories became increasingly embellished, gradually taking on a mythical hue. The so-called Prince Zhao was said to be strategic and insightful, akin to figures like Zhang Liang and Han Xian from the early Han dynasty, who had foreseen the difficulties at Lunkenling and thus volunteered to lead the army to solve the great threat posed by the Tibetans. Even the small Taoist temple, Qiyun Temple, benefited from this, suddenly seeing a surge in its incense offerings. Claiming to be descendants of the sage, the Li family, with Emperor Li Ji at the helm, naturally could not fall behind. He sent people to renovate Qiyun Temple. Given that the whereabouts of the master and disciples of the Outcloud sect were unknown, he also dispatched several Taoists from other temples to maintain the offerings there. These matters are also unrelated to Zheng Fan. The worries that Zheng Fan has, after memorizing so much Tang history, have been disrupted by his recent actions, and he is unsure if it will still be useful. In the second year of Xinheng, on the day of Wuyin in June, he held the position of left cavalry regular attendant, concurrently serving as the acting secretary, and was a guest of the crown prince. The Duke of Zhou, Wu Min, was stripped of his title and returned to his original surname, Helan, due to his crimes, and was exiled to Lizhou. In autumn, in September, there was an earthquake. The Minister of Works and the governor of Luzhou, Su Wang Yuanli, passed away. On the first day of November, there was a solar eclipse. On the day of Gengshu, he visited Shuzhou and the surrounding areas. On the day of Guiyu, during winter hunting, they conducted a hunt in the Yang of Kuanshui in Yexian, Shuzhou. On the day of Bingshu in December, he returned to the eastern capital. Events continued to unfold, and it seemed that his influence was minimal. Whatever, since he aspired to become an immortal, why bother with worldly affairs? It only brings unnecessary worries. After all, he had contributed to the great Tang dynasty. Although he did not shed blood, he caused the enemy to bleed, so his salary was not in vain, and he could continue to live in peace without guilt. After returning from military service, his cultivation made another breakthrough, and he had now reached level 25, with his realm progressing from a slight glimpse to a small achievement. All his attributes had also reached their maximum values. It seemed he had reached the limit as a mortal, and any further breakthroughs would mean transcending to a higher realm. Since he was conferred the title of Zhao Wang, his villa had been lively for a while, but Zheng Fan chose not to see anyone. Over time, no one came to disturb him anymore. Now, apart from the crown prince Li Hong occasionally visiting, there were no more guests, and Zheng Fan was happy to enjoy the peace. Each day was spent reading, practicing calligraphy, painting, playing the piano, and playing chess with his maid. Life was quite comfortable. In the third year of Xinheng, on the day of Xinshou in the first month of spring, troops from Liang and 18 other states were recruited, totaling 5,300 men. And Right Guard Deputy Liang Jishou was sent to Yaozhou to fight against the rebellious tribes. In February, on the day of Jimao, the Minister of Ceremonies, Duke Jiangku, passed away while stationed in Hushi. In May, on the day of Yue, new fish bags were granted to officials of the 5th rank and above, decorated with silver. Those of the 3rd rank and above were each given gold knives and whetstones. In August, on the day of Renzi, the special envoy, Duke Su Jingzong of Gaoyang, passed away. More than 2 years passed, and Zheng Fan estimated that it was about time to exit the game. After leaving the game pod and checking the time, it was 11:30 at night, a bit earlier than the previous day. With the experience from yesterday, the feeling of disorientation was much lighter today. He changed his clothes, washed his face, and went out to pick up Li Hong after work. Ding! The elevator doors opened, and Zheng Fan stepped inside, pressing the button for the first floor. The elevator doors slowly closed, and as his body felt lighter, the elevator began to descend. At this hour, hardly anyone used the elevator, and he smoothly reached the first floor and exited. The security guard at the community entrance was awake this time and nodded in acknowledgement as Zheng Fan walked out. He walked briskly towards the hospital, seeing a few delivery workers in yellow vests speeding by on electric scooters, still working hard late at night. This time, Li Hong finished work right on time. Less than a minute after Zheng Fan sent his message, she came out, followed by her colleague Cheng Ya. Zheng Fan. Such a big boss, coming to pick up our Li Hong after work. Cheng Ya joked. What big boss am I? I'm just a worker too. I've never been a boss for a day. Zheng Fan self-deprecated. But your wealth as a worker is something many bosses can only dream of. Cheng Ya said enviously. Zheng Fan didn't want to continue the topic. Sister Cheng, where do you live? Let's take you back first. That's not good. I live near a certain area. It's not close. It would delay your rest. Li Hong replied, it's fine. There are fewer cars at night. It only takes about 10 minutes back and forth. The car drove onto the ring road, speeding along, and in just a few minutes, they arrived at the Jinya community in the area, dropped off Cheng Ya, and then headed back to their own community. Li Hong now drove with fluid motions, clearly already an experienced driver, and she still preferred to drive herself. Entering the basement level, she expertly backed into the parking space in one smooth motion, looking quite stylish. After getting out of the car, Li Hong took the newly installed charging cable and plugged it in before heading upstairs with Zheng Fan. Li Hong, you don't charge every day, do you? Of course. The battery of this car is quite small. It runs out quickly if not charged. How much power do you use for your commute every day? Why worry so much? Oh, you wouldn't understand if you don't drive. No point in explaining. Li Hong was too lazy to engage with him. As an experienced driver, she found the constant chatter from the passenger seat quite annoying. Once home, Li Hong cooked 2 bowls of noodles, and they finished eating before going to bed. The next day, Zheng Fan woke up at dawn as usual, brushed his teeth and washed his face, then went downstairs to exercise at the clubhouse. He worked out on the treadmill for half an hour and ran 15 kilometers. Feeling somewhat unsatisfied, he moved on to various machines like the leg press, butterfly machine, and cable crossover, working out until he was all warmed up before stopping. As he reached the door, he ran into the neighbor, the female reporter Gao Fan. From yesterday. What a coincidence, running into you again. Zheng Fan nodded in greeting without speaking. Did you just move here? I haven't seen you before. Gao Fan was also heading outside and made small talk. I moved in about half a year ago. I just got my gym membership here a few days ago. Oh, that explains it. When he arrived at the restaurant from yesterday, Zheng Fan ordered a steamer of soup dumplings and a bowl of black rice porridge, sitting down for breakfast. Gao Fan entered right after and sat across from him, also ordering with familiarity. After finishing breakfast, he typically packed some dumplings and porridge for Li Hong. On the way back to the community, Gao Fan continued to walk alongside Zheng Fan. They entered the same building and stepped into the same elevator, only to discover that their apartments were actually one above the other, with Zheng Fan on the 26th floor and Gao Fan on the 27th. What a coincidence, Zheng Fan. Welcome you and your girlfriend to my place for a visit. We also welcome you to drop by. I'll take that seriously. Zheng Fan awkwardly smiled and fell silent. When the elevator reached the 26th floor, he quickly made his escape. This reporter could really talk a lot. Back at home, Li Hong was already up, mopping the floor. Here are the soup dumplings and black rice porridge I brought for you. Eat them while they're hot. I'll finish mopping. Li Hong dismissed him. I'll eat after I finish mopping. Relying on you to mop is worse than not mopping at all. You just want to slack off. I think it's already clean enough. No need to mop every day. You eat every day, but I don't see you skipping a meal. Oh, that's not the same. How is it different? To me, it's the same. Zheng Fan hurriedly backed down and tried to change the subject. All right, if you say so. I wonder when Dong Lei and the others will finish their home service robots. Then you'll have it easy. Li Hong was interested. I heard that the second hospital is already experimenting with nursing robots that can help patients with injections, assist in turning them over, and even take them to the restroom. We nurses might be out of jobs in the future. Our colleague Su Kin is a leader at the second hospital, an expert in neurosurgery, and he is in charge of this project, along with an intelligent diagnostic system that can significantly improve the hospital's efficiency and reduce misdiagnosis. There are just too many people in our country, which hospital isn't overcrowded now. After mopping the floor, Li Hong put the mop in the restroom, washed her hands. And while eating, she suddenly realized, I see your company has quite the ambition, developing self-driving technology to put drivers out of work, and now creating smart medical care to put us nurses out of jobs. With so many people unemployed, you then developed this gaming pod to get everyone to play your games. Our initial goal was just to develop the gaming pod. The rest was accidental. But it's undeniable that artificial intelligence can improve efficiency. Many repetitive tasks are done better and more safely by machines than by humans. Ultimately, it should serve humanity. Well, that sounds quite noble. Zheng Fan said seriously. This is a natural progression. I hope one day everyone won't have to work just to survive. No more bending over for a meager living. That's quite a lofty ambition. Li Hong teased. Just thinking about it. The progress of society ultimately relies on everyone's effort. Individual strength is limited. I can only do what I am capable of. Having money makes a difference. Your outlook has improved. Zheng Fan replied. As the ancients said, when food and clothing are sufficient, one knows honor and disgrace. Wealth can establish one's character. Only when you have time to spare can you ponder these issues. We're just ordinary people after all. Zheng Fan spoke from the heart. Not necessarily. There are more wealthy people now who are just thinking about how to make more money, how to keep their money safe, and how to satisfy their desires. You can't generalize. There are still many people with aspirations. It's not wrong for people to have desires. Everyone has them. The problem arises when one lacks self-restraint and harms others for personal gain. Li Hong finished her buns and black rice porridge, threw the packaging and disposable cup into the trash, and took the vinegar dish and chopsticks to wash in the kitchen. Zheng Fan followed her into the kitchen. Are you still on night shift today? Today I'm off. I'll be on the day shift tomorrow. The night shift is next week. How long until you become a head nurse? It's not like I can just decide to become one. It depends on the hospital's arrangements. I'm not in a hurry. Why are you so anxious? Li Hong finished washing the dishes, dried her hands, and walked out of the kitchen. Why don't you come work at our company? You could work with Su Kan on the medical robot and intelligent diagnostic system project. The income would definitely be higher than what you have now, and it wouldn't be as tough. Zheng Fan suddenly suggested. How could I? You guys are in IT. I don't know anything about programming. Li Hong replied in disbelief. You don't need to program. After working in a hospital for so many years, you know what functions a robot should have and which ones are not essential. That's your biggest advantage. It would be more meaningful to have our medical robots mature and be implemented in all hospitals than for you to personally care for patients, wouldn't it? The more I think about this idea, the better it seems. Zheng Fan quickly took out his phone to contact Su Kan, who was certainly happy to hear from him. Having someone to share the workload was great, and Li Hong was someone he could trust. I haven't agreed yet. Why are you in such a hurry? Li Hong lightly hit him. Then it's decided. It can play a bigger role. The work won't be that tiring, and it's much more promising than being a nurse. Change your clothes, and I'll take you to the company right now. Zheng Fan, rarely assertive, pushed Li Hong to the bedroom, urging her to change. The company's working hours started at 9 o'clock, and they arrived at 8:30, when most people had not yet come in. Li Hong had never been to their company before and found everything fresh and new. Your company occupies an entire floor. That's quite spacious. CEO Gao and the others are working downstairs. They've already rented 2 floors and are considering buying land to build a headquarters. Zheng Fan led her to the office of Su Kan and Sure Xian's project team. Sure Xian had already arrived and was working on a design on the computer, apparently for a wheeled robot. Sure Xian, this is my girlfriend Li Hong. Your project is short on people, and I want her to help you out. She's been a nurse for over 10 years, so she's definitely more professional than Su Kan when it comes to nursing. Zheng Fan introduced. Welcome. Just what we need for some professional advice. If you're satisfied, we'll have the confidence to promote it to other hospitals. I don't know if I can help you, but I'll stay here for a day to try. If it doesn't work out, I'll just go back to the hospital. Li Hong replied. They had produced 10 samples of the first-generation medical robot, with 5 sent to Su Kan's hospital for testing. They were quite imperfect, and the hospital had provided a lot of feedback, so they were currently working on redesigning the samples. There were also a few samples here, and Sure Xian demonstrated them to Li Hong, discussing the improvement suggestions from the hospital. Li Hong was genuinely interested and quickly engaged in a lively discussion with Sure Xian. The first-generation robot resembled a small computer chair with 4 small wheels for easy maneuvering. It had a display screen and a camera on the backrest, along with 2 mechanical arms to assist patients or administer injections and 4 drips. The seat housed the battery and control unit, and the structural design was quite clever. To facilitate movement within the hospital, the robot was designed to be compact, measuring 50 centimeters on each side. However, its small size affected stability when using the mechanical arms to transport patients, and some larger patients found it difficult to sit in or often got stuck. Their discussion on improvement proposals focused on increasing weight or creating a retractable structure. Zheng Fan couldn't help but interject. I think you might be falling into a conceptual trap. Why? I think this design is quite clever. Transporting patients can be done with 2 machines working together, and if 2 isn't enough, then 3 or 4 can be used. These are robots, and they can be perfectly coordinated through programming. As for larger patients, just design a larger robot to handle that. There's no need to make it too complicated. Sure Xian slapped his thigh. That makes sense. Chapter 77. Calm and unperturbed. What makes sense? Tell me. I want to hear it. Su Kan walked in. This is Li Hong, right? Wow, she's really beautiful. No wonder Zheng Fan doesn't he even want to go to work for you. Hello, I'm Su Kan. I'm Li Hong. You're too kind. Li Hong said shyly. Zheng Fan, not pleased, nudged Su Kan. Who jokes like you do on a first meeting? I don't want to go to work because of you. This needs to be addressed. How have I joked? Isn't Li Hong beautiful? I'm just stating facts. Besides, how does your not going to work relate to me? Su Kan replied discontentedly. If you weren't always thinking of cracking my head open, would I be hiding at home? How is that not related to you? It's very much related. Zheng Fan laughed. Oh, You were waiting for me? Then I declare I will never crack your head open again. Come back to work. Sukin retorted. Zhang Fan wouldn't fall for it. You've changed too quickly. I can't trust you. Haha. After some joking, they continued discussing the medical care robots. Everyone agreed that Zhang Fan's ideas were quite good. This way, the original design wouldn't need major changes and could directly solve most problems. They then discussed how many units a department would need, the total demand for a hospital, how to contact hospitals, how to guide usage, what the contraindications are, and other special considerations. These are Li Hong's areas of expertise. After discussing for the entire morning, they finalized the basic functions necessary for several medical care robots and examined the steps for future promotion. Ensure XINS words. The progress made that day equaled that of the previous month, and Li Hong was much more reliable than Su Kan. At noon, Zhang Fan treated all the high-level staff at the company to a meal, introducing Li Hong to them and asking them to take good care of her. In the afternoon, Zhang Fan sat in his new office for a while, handling some backlog of documents before heading home to continue his retreat. Before he got home, he received a call from Li Hong asking him to find Su Lu, who needed his help with something. Zhang Fan asked what it was, but she didn't say. Just told him he would know when he got there. When he arrived at Su Lu's house and knocked, Su Lu opened the door wearing a particularly sexy yoga outfit, exposing her cleavage in front, her back, and her belly button in the middle, with tight yoga pants accentuating her perfect lower body curves. Very tempting, making Zhang Fan hesitate to look directly. I'm sorry to bother you again, but my computer won't start. There are important files inside. Can you see if you can fix it? Did you shut it down improperly? Zhang Fan knew her computer was in the bedroom, which was also her streaming room, and he walked directly to the bedroom. I just turned it on for a bit today, and then it suddenly shut down by itself. Now it won't respond when I try to turn it back on. Su Lu's bedroom was large, with a messy bed and a few pieces of clothing thrown around. There is a closed balcony, with one corner set up as a live streaming room. A computer desk is placed there, on which sits the computer tower and a 27-inch monitor, along with a sound card, microphone, camera, and 2 large reflectors for lighting, as well as a phone holder and other items. The power indicator light on the monitor shows it is in standby mode, and a small box in the center of the screen displays no signal input. Pressing the power button on the tower yields no response. Zhang Fan turns the tower around, replugs the power cord, and presses the power button again. The familiar beep sounds, and the system starts normally. It's quite frustrating. It was just a loose power cord. I really appreciate it. I thought the computer was infected again. Su Lu explains sheepishly. I've put in very strict protections for this computer, under normal circumstances. It won't get infected. Just don't let strangers operate it, and there shouldn't be any problems. I know, no one else comes into this room. With such an expert like you around, I'm very reassured. Well, you get back to it. I'm heading out. With the problem resolved, Zhang Fan turns to leave. Sit for a while. Let me get you a bottle of water. No need. Back home, with no one to disturb him this time, Zhang Fan enters the game again. In the winter of the 3rd year of the Xianheng era, General Gao Can defeated the new forces at Hengshui. The game progresses quickly. He logged off last night. And now, after more than 10 hours, over 3 months have passed in the game. This time, Zhang Fan spent a few days adjusting his mindset and gradually reintegrating into life here. Li Yuanying, the Prince of Tengwang, seems to suddenly remember his 22-year-old son and writes to inquire if he has a romantic interest, wanting to arrange a marriage for him. Zhang Fan finds it a bit amusing and replies that he has dedicated himself to a higher path and does not wish to be burdened by matters of love, asking his father to enjoy life without worrying about him. In the blink of an eye, 7 years have passed in the game, and Zhang Fan's appearance has hardly changed. His 2 constant companions, the maidens Xiuzhu and Cuizhu, are now 25, and even the younger Mai Sui has married and had children. Zhang Fan gradually loses interest in music and arts, instead opening a small plot of land by the river outside the courtyard to grow some vegetables of this era. Though there are no chili peppers, potatoes, or tomatoes, cucumbers, cabbages, green beans, eggplants, and spinach are already growing. To facilitate irrigation, Zhang Fan comes up with a design for a water wheel, personally cutting bamboo and wood from the mountains, and having the guards buy tools. He spends 10 days constructing it, little by little, and installs it by the riverbank. Watching the water wheel turn slowly, with the river water flowing into the vegetable beds, Zhang Fan's sense of achievement is extraordinarily high. The prince, Li Hong, rarely visits, and upon seeing the homemade water wheel and the cultivated vegetable garden, he exclaims, Uncle, you have great skills. Are you trying to emulate Tao Yuanming? Haha, I can't compare to Tao Yuanming in poetry, but I do have a bit of confidence in farming. Zhang Fan replies proudly. This is Wang Zian, who is currently serving as the chief officer in my residence. Li Hong turns to introduce a person following him. Wang Bo has met Prince Zhao. Wang Bo bowed respectfully to Zhang Fan. No need for formalities. I truly admire your talent. Zhang Fan replied politely. Wang Bo felt a surge of emotions and once again cupped his hands in salute. I was young and reckless, not knowing my own limitations. I must thank you for your support back then. Zhang Fan waved his hand dismissively. It's nothing much. It was the crown prince who helped you. I merely said a few words. As they chatted, they returned to the villa for tea and started discussing serious matters. Li Hong was getting married, and the bride was the daughter of General Pei Jiudao from the left Jinwu. This time, he was delivering an invitation, asking Zhang Fan to attend the wedding feast. After spending a few years here, Zhang Fan only had one true friend, Li Hong, so he immediately agreed. In the following days, Zhang Fan took it seriously and wrote a copy of the Tao Te Ching on the best paper, personally binding it as a wedding gift for Li Hong. The crown prince's wedding was, of course, a grand affair. Zhang Fan's status was vastly different from before, and he was seated much closer to the front. The wedding was filled with socializing, and Li Hong's three younger brothers, Li Xian, and Li Luan, came over to toast him. He also met the young Princess Taiping, who looked adorable and innocent. The wedding celebration lasted 3 days. On the 12th day of the lunar month, the kings of the countries of Shul and others came to pay homage. In the spring of the 5th year of Xianheng, on the 12th day of the 2nd month, the crown prince's left attendant, along with Lu Ringgui from the 3rd rank of the Central Secretariat, was sent as the Grand Director of Jilin Road to deal with the new kingdom. Wei Qing Li Bai and Right General Li Jingxing were appointed as his deputies. In the summer, on the 4th day of the 4th month, the Duke of Zhou, Wu Qingzi, was appointed as the Minister of Ancestral Affairs. In autumn, on the 8th day of the 8th month, the Emperor was referred to as the Heavenly Emperor and the Empress as the Heavenly Empress, changing the 5th year of Xianheng to the 1st year of Shangyuan, and a general amnesty was declared. In the game, Zhang Fan resumed his role as an observer, his mindset once again becoming calm and unperturbed. Estimating that it was almost time for Li Hong to finish work, Zhang Fan logged out of the game. Chapter 78. Daily life. He went to the supermarket and bought 2 pounds of fresh ribs, a few potatoes, a bundle of bok choy, and some tomatoes. Then returned home to prepare dinner. He chopped the ribs into small pieces. Previously, he had to raise the cleaver high and apply significant force to cut through. But now he controlled his strength with precision, and with a gentle flick of his wrist, he could chop the ribs with ease, the blade barely touching the cutting board. Only the sound of bones being chopped could be heard. After cutting the ribs, he peeled and diced the potatoes, and prepared various seasonings like scallions, ginger, and garlic. He blanched the ribs in boiling water, then heated oil in a pan to stir-fry them, adding scallions, ginger, garlic, and various seasonings until they absorbed the flavors. He then added the diced potatoes, poured in some water, and simmered it on low heat. He took out the rice cooker, rinsed some rice, and started cooking it. He also washed the bok choy, deciding to stir-fry it later. Lying on the sofa, he scrolled through his phone for a while. The number of people live-streaming games was increasing, and the influence of Seeking Immortals was gradually expanding. He came across a previous follow, a streamer named Xiaoyuer, who was live-streaming rural life in the Tang Dynasty, surprisingly attracting hundreds of viewers, which was a significant increase from a few days ago. Scrolling further, he found another streamer showcasing court life in the Tang Dynasty, who had even more viewers, over 3,000, and the video featured a grand court banquet. Just as he was engrossed in watching, he heard the door open. Li Hong had returned from work. Just a moment. Wash your hands first. The meal will be ready soon. Zhang Fan climbed off the sofa and ran to the kitchen. He heated the oil in the pan, added dried shrimp, tossed in the washed bok choy, stir-fried over high heat, added seasonings, stirred evenly, covered the pot to let it steam a bit, and then plated it. The pork ribs stewed with potatoes in the clay pot were almost done too, so he turned off the heat and brought it out. Li Hong picked up her chopsticks, took a piece of the stir-fried bok choy, chewed, swallowed, and nodded. Tastes good, there's progress. Try the pork ribs and potatoes I made. There's also a tomato and egg soup that will be ready later. Enjoy this first. The rice was also quite good, perfectly cooked, neither too soft nor too hard. Li Hong praised the rice. How about you? After a day at work, how do you feel? Can you manage? I feel okay, it's not too hard. But what about my job at the hospital? Li Hong hesitated. Aren't you on the day shift tomorrow? Just go to work, then tell your supervisor you're resigning. Be honest. People seek better opportunities, and it's understandable. Clarify the handover at the hospital, then come work here. Zhang Fan suggested. After working at the hospital for so many years, it's hard to just quit. Li Hong replied. In any organization, big or small, no one is irreplaceable. You think you're very important, but that's just an illusion. Oh, the tomato and egg soup is ready. He got up and went to the kitchen, added the beaten eggs and starch to the pot, waited a moment, then added salt and sesame oil, stirred well, and brought out 2 bowls. If you really resign, in a week it will just be a thing of the past. Maybe many will even breathe a sigh of relief. One less competitor for the head nurse position. The way you say it makes it seem like my job has no value. Li Hong said unhappily. Your value has already been compensated through your salary, bonuses, allowances, various benefits, and the gratitude of patients. Does your hospital need to shut down for 3 days as a show of respect? Come on, I didn't say that. Well, that's settled then. It's not like the past when you had to stay in one job for a lifetime. The more jobs you switch, the more accustomed you'll become. Life is more interesting with diverse experiences. Got it. Teacher Zeng, I feel like you're almost like my dad. That night, the two were finally able to maintain a normal routine and went to bed before 10. Recently, Zeng Fan had hardly dreamed while sleeping, waking up at the same time as yesterday. One of his arms was wrapped in Li Hong's embrace, and when he moved, she woke up too. Up so early? Aren't you going to sleep a bit longer? Li Hong asked with her eyes still closed. You keep sleeping, I'm not going back to sleep. I'm going to work out. What do you want for breakfast? I'll bring it back for you. Zeng Fan got out of bed, covered Li Hong with the blanket, and started getting dressed. There's still quite a bit left from dinner yesterday. I'll heat it up when I get up, you come back and eat. Don't waste it. Li Hong advised with her eyes closed. I know you sleep, Zeng Fan said, dressing quickly, kissed Li Hong on the cheek, and left the room. While waiting for the elevator, he was lucky to catch one going down just as he pressed the button. Coincidentally, his neighbor Gao Fan was also in the elevator. Seeing him, she smiled and said, what a coincidence. It is a bit of a coincidence. Good morning, Gao Fan. Zeng Fan also found it hard to believe. The two of them went downstairs together and walked into the club. Then Gao Fan started running on the treadmill next to Zeng Fan. People who didn't know them might think they were a couple since they had been exercising together for days. This time, Zeng Fan ran for 40 minutes, covering over 20 kilometers, and just started to feel warm, while Gao Fan, in the same time, had barely run 10 kilometers and was panting, drenched in sweat. Your stamina is really impressive. It's a pity you're not training for long-distance running. Zeng Fan laughed, looking at her. You don't need to push yourself so hard. How can you eat breakfast like this? Don't you know? It's hard to stick to exercising alone. I'm forcing myself to lose weight. Gao Fan managed to finish her sentence in several parts, still catching her breath. I think your figure looks great. Do you really feel pressured to lose weight? You're being too anxious. The two of them put on their jackets and chatted as they walked towards the door. You just don't understand. This is the effect of the clothing. I've gained 10 pounds over the new year, and I haven't lost it yet. Are you going back to the restaurant for breakfast? Gao Fan wiped the sweat off her face with a towel. I'll eat at home. There are leftovers from last night that I'll heat up for breakfast. Your family really knows how to live well. Well, see you later. Bye-bye. When Zeng Fan got home, Li Hong was already up, doing her daily cleaning. Zeng Fan went to the kitchen and found that the dishes were already heated, so he brought them out to prepare breakfast. I've resigned, but the approval will take a long time. I might have to continue working. I can't leave immediately, Li Hong said while eating. That's fine anyway. The company here will keep your position for you. The robots aren't produced yet, so a few days delay won't matter. Let us do this. I'll call Su Kan. He definitely knows your hospital's leadership and can help. Maybe your resignation will be approved today. Thinking of it, Zeng Fan called Su Kan, who readily agreed and assured him it wouldn't be a problem. He would go to Li Hong's hospital today to discuss it. The entire resignation process went smoothly and was completed in less than 2 hours. No wonder, as the nursing jobs at hospitals are busy. But there are more students graduating from nursing programs, and many people are trying to find connections to get in. Walking out of the emergency department building, Li Hong let out a sigh. After working here for 7 years, it will no longer have anything to do with me. Zeng Fan comforted her. The hospital isn't going anywhere. You can come back to visit your colleagues when you miss them. You shouldn't go to work today. Let us spend the day at Happy Valley to celebrate your escape from the tough times. What do you mean? How did our hospital become a tough time? I misspoke. Let us celebrate Comrade Li Hong starting a new life. That is more like it. Li Hong shot him a glance and walked out of the hospital. Chapter 79. Retreat. After returning from Happy Valley, Li Hong was in a much better mood. They had dinner at a restaurant, and when they got home, they just wanted to lie on the sofa and not move. Hey, don't you have anything to do if you don't play games for a day? Li Hong nudged Zeng Fan. It's just a game. Missing a day isn't a big deal. I don't think so. You seem distracted today. It doesn't look like nothing's wrong. Or is there something else on your mind? Li Hong laughed. Is it that obvious? Zeng Fan was a bit skeptical. He thought he was acting normally. Others may not notice, but I can definitely sense it. If you want to play, go ahead. I won't be playing today. I'm going to visit Sulu later. She's resting today and not streaming. Li Hong was indifferent. This time entering the game, Zeng Fan felt a bit anxious. His emotions were somewhat conflicted. He hoped history would continue to unfold like in the annals, but he didn't want his in-game friend, Prince Li Hong, to meet an early demise like in history. In the second year of the Shang Yuan era, in February, General Lu Ringgui decisively defeated the forces of a neighboring kingdom at Qizhong City, capturing many. The kingdom sent envoys to offer gifts and plead for forgiveness. They were pardoned, and their king, Jin Famian, was restored to his title. In April, the provinces of Yongjia and Yonggu were established, and Linhai County was split to create Luan and Yongning counties. In the year of the Earth Snake, the Queen Zhao was imprisoned and died under suspicion of crime. the steward of the royal residence, Shi, sent supplies from the city every month, and also brought news of court movements, which Zheng Fan found useful to understand the real situation outside. In August, Lu Ringgui, the prince's left assistant, was appointed as the left prime minister while continuing to oversee the national history. The deputy minister of personnel, Li Jingxian, was also appointed to the same positions, maintaining his role in overseeing the national history. In October, new counties were established in the region, and in December, the king of another kingdom presented a prized horse. Many events unfolded, while many others did not. At least Prince Li Hong was still alive and returned to Chang'an from Luoyang before the end of the year, bringing several carts of gifts, said to be bestowed by his father and mother. This time, Zheng Fan accepted them without refusal. The events that followed began to diverge from the historical records in Zheng Fan's memory. The Tibetan kingdom had been defeated, the neighboring kingdom had submitted, and the states of the western regions were behaving themselves. The empire surveyed its surroundings and found no rivals. In the second month of the third year of the Shang era, the prince's wife, Pei, gave birth to a robust son whose cries were loud. Li Ji personally named him Li Zhuang and conferred upon him the title of Prince of Jin. In August, Li Ji abdicated in favor of Prince Li Hong, changing the era name to Yonglong and granting a general amnesty. The history in the game had completely changed. One night, while Zheng Fan was meditating, he suddenly felt a great surge of energy, with the flow of his breath accelerating and gathering in his dantian, continuously rotating and tightening until it coalesced into a pill, after which the speed slowed. When he opened his eyes again, he found it was already bright outside. He had meditated for an entire night. Zheng Fan noticed his body felt lighter, as if he could easily leap into the sky. His senses were sharper. He could clearly hear the subtle breathing of Xiao Zhu nearby and the shouts of the guards practicing in the distance. Quietly moving into the courtyard without waking the ever-alert Xiao Zhu, he took a breath and leaped, lifting himself over 3 meters high before gently landing like a feather. With a powerful jump, he was already outside the courtyard wall, sprinting towards the mountaintop, covering 4 to 5 meters with each step and dozens of meters in just a few breaths. Originally, it took over 2 hours to reach the mountaintop, climbing step by step, with several steep sections requiring a scramble. Now, one could leap up effortlessly and arrive at the summit in less than half an hour, without even breaking a sweat, as if endowed with endless strength that would never deplete. With a thought, Zheng Fan began practicing Tai Chi. He started with the opening moves, performing techniques like wild horse parts mane and white crane spreads its wings, gradually moving through each posture. Slowly, his entire body's energy began to circulate. Zheng Fan had not formally learned Tai Chi. He had only watched some videos and seen others practice in the park. At this moment, feeling a surge of energy with no outlet, the movements came to him naturally, as if he were recalling each form from memory. After completing one round, he felt it was still not enough and continued on to a third round. The more he practiced, the more adept he became, his movements becoming smooth and comfortable, alternating between slow and fast. When slow, his hands felt as heavy as 1,000 pounds, and when fast, they moved with the swiftness of thunder and lightning. After repeating the practice 5 times, he finally felt a sense of unity and clarity throughout his body, and then he slowly descended the mountain. Upon returning to the base, people in the villa were searching for him, preparing to send someone up the mountain to look for him. It turned out that the newly crowned emperor had sent rewards for him to receive. In his study, he wrote a letter for the envoy from the palace to take back as a report. Zheng Fan gathered the maids and guards who had been with him in the villa, announcing that he would soon enter a period of closed-door cultivation, which might take a long time. He instructed them to take care of their own matters and not to disturb him unless necessary. Xiao Zhu asked, "Young master, how long will this retreat take? At least a month, or as long as several years?" Behind his study, there was a quiet room specifically for meditation and cultivation, furnished only with a meditation cushion, its walls adorned with scrolls he had written, copying various classical texts, with no other furniture present. After finishing his instructions, Zheng Fan sat cross-legged on the cushion in the center of the room and began to meditate. After logging out of the game and checking the time, it was past 10 in the evening, and Li Hong had already gone to bed. Lying in bed, he quickly fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, he continued his workout at the club. This time, he did not encounter Gao Fan, which relieved Zheng Fan, but also left him feeling a bit down. After having breakfast, which he packed to take home, Li Hong went to work at the company. Zheng Fan found himself at a loose end, dozing off on the sofa. He dreamt of climbing a mountain, walking along a long path that seemed endless, winding upward with clouds and mist swirling at his feet. Looking up, he could only see layers of clouds, with a path that seemed to go on forever. The ringing of his phone jolted him awake. It was a call from Ho Chang, inviting him to lunch to discuss something. After setting the time and place, he hung up the phone. After scrolling through his phone for a while, estimating the time was about right, Zheng Fan went downstairs to the entrance of the community. He had booked a ride, and an autonomous vehicle arrived just in time. The launch of self-driving cars coincided with the enactment of national regulations, and many enterprising individuals saw this opportunity, using their phones to accept ride requests while the cars drove themselves, allowing them to earn extra income without affecting their work. The streets are filled with many self-driving ride-hailing cars. Zhang Fan didn't care whether someone was driving. As long as it didn't hinder anything, that was fine. The dining location was still the same place where Li Ming treated last time. When they reached the entrance of the alley, Zhang Fan got out, and the ride-hailing car automatically drove away to its next destination. It was still the same private room as last time. Ho Chung had already arrived, along with Fong Mei, whom he met last time, and a beautiful woman of similar age to Fong Mei, dressed in a gray women's suit. Seeing Zhang Fan for the second time, Ho Chung greeted him like an old friend, putting his arm around his shoulder. Zhang, let me introduce you to a friend from the film industry. This is the famous producer, Ms. Huang Zhu. Hello, Mr. Zhang. It's a pleasure to meet you. Huang Zhu greeted him warmly, shaking hands. Hello. Just call me Zhang Fan. Zhang Fan felt a bit overwhelmed by Huang Zhu's enthusiastic gaze. He shook her hand lightly, and then turned to pull out a chair to sit down. Chapter 80. The banquet last time Li Ming treated. There were 4 people dining here, and this time it was still 4. Once everyone was present, Ho Chung called over a waitress in a cheapao to take their order. Zhang Fan casually ordered the stir-fried shrimp he had last time. Fong Mei ordered stir-fried cabbage. Huang Zhu ordered mapo tofu. And Ho Chung ordered 3 meat dishes and 2 soups. After ordering, Ho Chung took out an antique-looking bottle of wine. You all are in for a treat today. 18-year-old Huadiao wine, authentic daughter red. Is that for real? This kind of wine is hard to find on the market. Huang Zhu said skeptically. Absolutely genuine. A comrade from Zhujiang brewed it himself, and has kept it in his cellar for 18 years. His family knows how to brew wine, and they drink what they brew. I finally managed to get a jar, and this bottle is what I filled myself, so we have to savor it, huh? Ho Chung proudly introduced. Then you two drink. I won't compete with you for it. Fong Mei said. If you're not drinking, don't speak for others. Ho Chung replied, dissatisfied. I don't drink any alcohol. I can't appreciate the taste, so it would be a waste. That's quite a pity. The dishes arrived quickly, and Ho Chung and Huang Zhu drank wine, while Zhang Fan and Fong Mei had orange juice. As they ate and drank, they chatted about recent popular topics, from movies to self-driving technology, and then to the booming game of seeking immortality. Zhang Fan, I heard that this game is developed and operated by your company's superintelligence? Huang Zhu suddenly asked. Yes, it's not a secret. I have a question. With such high-quality graphics and so many NPCs that look almost like real people, have you considered entering the film industry? Some have suggested this, and technically it's not too difficult to achieve. The main issue is that our company lacks resources in this area, and our energy is limited, so we haven't taken any action yet. We can provide you with the resources and distribution channels you lack. If you provide the technology, can we collaborate? I only handle the technical side. Whether we can collaborate, you would need to talk to our company as president, Gao Hua. Then I'll need to trouble Brother Zhang to introduce me. Huang Zhu raised her glass and downed it in one go. Zhang Fan could only raise his orange juice and follow suit. I'm very curious. I've played your game, and it's indeed very realistic. When you make movies, do you have actors come in to play the roles? Ho Ching asked. It would be best to implement it using a gaming pod, as you mentioned. Actors also require some training, but it could all be done by superintelligence, which means only a script would be needed. Zhang Fan explained. Your superintelligence is impressive. Will it lead to unemployment for actors and behind-the-scenes personnel in the film industry? Ho Chung lamented. Superintelligence is a tool akin to an industrial mother machine with many possibilities. What it can do depends on our imagination. There are many things it can accomplish, but it certainly isn't omnipotent. Can it help us catch criminals? What do you think? I believe it could. The current surveillance system is already quite powerful, though the query speed is a bit slow. It's not very efficient. Let's put it this way. If superintelligence were integrated into your system, even if everyone in the country queried simultaneously, the response time would be in milliseconds. Those criminals would be detected instantly unless they avoided cameras and didn't use phones. But that's just detection. You still have to take action to apprehend them. So impressive? Perhaps that's what some people are worried about. Superintelligence is too powerful. However, it can indeed significantly improve efficiency. Whichever industry it enters will see a substantial boost in efficiency. What about our financial system? Wouldn't its impact be even greater? Fong Mei interjected. I don't know much about finance, but I can say that the speed of online data retrieval would certainly increase by dozens or even hundreds of times. At least the methods of money laundering through online scams would be outdated for superintelligence. I mean, creating software for stock trading, futures, or forex trading would be more stable and efficient for profits, right? Fong Mei asked curiously. I haven't considered that area yet, but theoretically, it shouldn't be a problem. The analytical and data collection capabilities of superintelligence are much faster than manual processes. If you're interested, we could collaborate and give it a try. Zhang Fan said after some thought. Ho Chung complained, stop just discussing. Let's eat and drink, or it will get cold. The meal was enjoyable for everyone, mainly hosted by Huang Zhu, who received satisfactory responses. If they could be the first film company to introduce superintelligence, they would have a significant advantage in the future. After the meal, Zhang Fan thought it was over, but unexpectedly, he was pulled to go bowling. He had only seen others play on TV and had never tried it himself. Fortunately, the rules of bowling are simple, and he could quickly learn, as it just involved throwing the ball. They chose a two-person competition, with Ho Chung and Fong Mei on one team and Zhang Fan and Huang Zhu on the other. Alternating turns on 2 lanes, with each person throwing 6 balls. The team with the highest total score would win. Before the competition, everyone threw 2 balls to get a feel for it. To accommodate the 2 ladies, they all chose lighter, 12-pound balls. A coach and referee came over to guide them on the rules and demonstrated the standard throwing posture. On his first trial ball, Zhang Fan threw it too straight. And due to his strength, the ball rolled directly and knocked down all the pins. Ho Chung, clearly an experienced player, threw the ball in a beautiful curve, scoring a strike. The 2 ladies clearly lacked some skill, as neither of them hit all the targets, but they did manage to hit some, ensuring the ball didn't go unused. In the second round of throws, they knocked down all the pins. After the trial throws, they officially entered the competition stage, with each team taking turns on their respective lanes, switching lanes after each round. The 2 men were obviously the main players, while Fong Mei and Huang Zhu were just there for the experience, hardly ever hitting all the targets and needing to make spare throws each round. Zhang Fan maintained a consistent performance, hitting all 6 frames, while Ho Chung made a small mistake, hitting 5 frames and making 1 spare. Zhang Fan, looking at you. It doesn't seem like you've never played bowling before. Huang Zhu was skeptical, thinking it was hard to believe someone who had never played would perform so well. Ho Chung chimed in. You have no idea. This guy is a beast. I mean physically strong, not mentally. Last time we trained at our Team S facility, even with 10 of us attacking him, we couldn't beat him. His throws are steady, precise, and incredibly powerful. I can vouch for that. I was right there. You all didn't just fail to beat him, but Zhang Fan single-handedly had you all crawling on the ground, too scared to get up. Fong Mei joked. So impressive. A martial arts master. It's not an exaggeration at all. I even told him that for those fight scenes, he could totally handle it. Just think of him as a real-life version of a legendary martial artist. Zhang Fan quickly interrupted Fong Mei. It's not that impressive. You're exaggerating. Not exaggerating at all. I've seen many experts in boxing, combat sports, wrestling, from military backgrounds, sports schools, and professional martial artists. And none have made me feel as hopeless as you do. After 1 round, I never want to fight you again. Ho Chung sighed. We have a film crew shooting in Huairou, and we need a stunt double for a scene just like this. Zhang Fan, would you like to give it a try? Huang Zhu asked. Isn't that inappropriate? Aren't there many professional stunt actors? I'm not even an amateur. The director requires a single continuous shot. And if we can't find a suitable stunt double, it would be a huge help if you could come. Before getting in the car, Ho Chung received a phone call about something at the office and had to leave. Zhang Fan and Fong Mei took Huang Zhu's Porsche to the film set. It wasn't until they were halfway to Huairou that Zhang Fan realized these guys had likely planned this from the start to coax him into coming along. Thinking about it, it didn't matter. If they had a plan, so be it, as it wasn't malicious. He decided to treat it as an opportunity to broaden his horizons. During the drive, which was fully automated, Huang Zhu introduced them to the history of the Huairou film city, finally lamenting. The busiest time here was during the first decade of this century, when almost every day there would be film crews shooting, sometimes more than 10 at a time. Now it has decreased significantly. Is it because of the concentration of the industry over there? Fong Mei asked. Pretty much. The clustering effect is too obvious. What they have here, they have there as well, and what is lacking here is also missing there. Especially for extras, both in quantity and quality, it has dropped significantly. Then why are you still shooting here? The studio here has quite advanced post-production facilities. Most of our scenes are shot indoors, so we don't need many extras. Just a few scenes can be easily resolved. When calculating costs, it's cheaper here and close to the capital, making it very convenient for everything we need. There are definitely some advantages to this place. Huang Zhu smiled. The crew rented an indoor studio here and created a set resembling the interior of a passenger plane, where the main storyline unfolds. When they arrived, the crew was busy filming. The director was a chubby man in his 50s with a bald head, wearing frameless glasses, sitting with his arms crossed in front of the monitor watching the actors perform. Inside the cabin set, a man and a woman were sitting together and conversing, while an air hostess was pushing a cart down the aisle in the distance. 3 cameras were filming from different angles simultaneously. When the air hostess reached the actors, she opened her mouth, but no sound came out, clearly having forgotten her lines. The bald director shouted angrily, "What's going on? Can you do this? Forgetting your lines? Do it again." The actress playing the air hostess repeatedly apologized, pulled the cart back, and they did it again. It seemed like such a simple scene, but it took 3 takes to finish, and over half an hour had passed. A person leaned in to whisper a few words to the director, who seemed to just notice them and hurried over. Producer Huang. Sorry, I was focused on filming and didn't see you come in. Who are these two? This is my good friend Fong Mei, and this is Mr. Zhang Fan, a skilled professional I specially invited. For that scene you were worried about. He can give it a try. Mr. Zhang is purely here to help, so don't neglect him. Huang Zhu introduced both parties. Nice to meet you, Miss Fong. Thank you for your trouble. Brother Zhang, you have a remarkable presence. Director Sun Cheng was completely different from how he was during filming. Now he was all smiles. Very approachable, shaking hands with both of them, and especially praising Zhang Fan. Of course, after the compliments, it was time to discuss business. Sun Cheng instructed others to quickly prepare for the fight scene and personally explain the content of this scene to Zhang Fan. Zhang Fan was to play a villain's body double, characterized by being particularly strong. In a scene where he fights the male lead and several passengers who act heroically on the plane, then a martial arts coordinator, who was also the action director, took him into the cabin to explain the fight movements one by one. Zhang Fan started to wonder. This wasn't a large-scale action movie. Was it really necessary to do a continuous shot in such a small space? Anyway, he was just an outsider, so he thought of it as a day out. Even as a stand-in for a minor role, makeup was still required. Fortunately, it was relatively simple for him, just a wig, a layer of fake skin with facial hair, sunglasses, and a change of clothes. What seemed like a simple look took nearly an hour to perfect. When Zhang Fan looked in the mirror, he could hardly recognize himself. It was as if he had a completely different face. After putting on makeup, Zhang Fan first walked through the fight choreography in the cabin with all the actors, discussing who would hit whom, what actions to perform, the desired effects after each move, and the next steps. His impressive memory was evident as he memorized everything in one go, then went over it again based solely on his recall. The two directors exchanged glances, pleased with the outcome, and decided to shoot it live. They only filmed the fighting portion, without any transitional scenes or lines. Just looking cool was enough. Who wears sunglasses while fighting? The influence of certain films is significant. Throughout the sequence of actions, Zhang Fan made no mistakes. While the group performers struggled with several moves, some actions looked too fake, while others had exaggerated expressions. Come on, everyone, show some professionalism. He managed all those moves without issue. Yet you guys keep messing up with just one or two. The action director scolded. One performer retorted, "He's really fighting. While we're just pretending. We're not stunt actors, so it's naturally harder for us. These moves aren't dangerous. Director, let everyone really fight. I'm fine with it." Zhang Fan declared. The actions were all just punches and kicks without any equipment. If they really fought, Zhang Fan wouldn't be worried about them at all, especially in the cramped cabin where they could only go one at a time, with a maximum of 3 people at once. After filming it twice more, they finally got it right. What seemed like a simple few minutes of action, excluding the earlier rehearsals and makeup, took over an hour to film. The director praised everyone's performance, saying they did well, and even rewarded them with chicken legs for dinner, expressing special thanks to Zhang Fan. After removing his makeup, Zhang Fan noticed that Fong Mei had left at some point, and only Huang Zhu was waiting for him. "Even though you came to help, we can't send you off without a little something. Don't think it's too little, it's just a token." Following the usual practice, Huang Zhu handed Zhang Fan a red envelope and stuffed it into his pocket. "I'm not complaining, but you have to tell me how much it is." Zhang Fan joked. 10,000. Huang Zhu laughed in response. "What about Fong Mei? Did she and you conspire to bring me here and then leave? We really need people. You think these moves are easy, but not just anyone can perform them smoothly. Hiring professionals costs 6 figures. They recommended you because they knew you had the capability. It was a joke, a win-win situation. Don't be mad. If you get really mad, I want to come back. It's getting late. I should head back." Zhang Fan said. "Let me give you a ride." On the way, with just the two of them, Zhang Fan didn't know what to say. Huang Zhu tried to initiate conversations a few times, but when he saw Zhang Fan wasn't interested, he stopped. By the time they returned to the capital, it was completely dark. The car stopped at the entrance of Zhang Fan's community. After getting out, he invited, "Why not come to my place for a bit? Is there anyone home?" Huang Zhu asked. "My girlfriend." "Haha, that's not very sincere. I want to go up." "Bye." Watching the taillights of the car fade away, Zhang Fan shook his head. It was just polite conversation, of course, he wasn't sincere. Chapter 82. The homebody. When he got home, Li Hong had already prepared dinner and was waiting for him to eat together. "Where have you been? Why are you back so late?" Zhang Fan couldn't help but smile and said, "Today was so much fun. In the morning, Ho Chung treated us to a meal, and in the afternoon, I acted as a stunt double for someone in a film crew and even earned a red envelope." He took out the red envelope and handed it to Li Hong, saying, "Count it. They say it's 10,000. I didn't dare to count it myself. Making 10,000 as a stunt double? Are you risking your life? You didn't get hurt, did you?" Li Hong asked worriedly. "Of course not. What kind of person am I to risk my life for others? It just required good skills. It was practically tailor-made for me, and it only took a little over an hour. Zheng Fan replied proudly. Li Hong rolled her eyes at him. Just keep boasting and eat. After dinner, the two of them washed the dishes together. Li Hong asked, I handled my onboarding today, and they set my annual salary at 600,000 for a senior manager position. Is that a bit too high? You used to make over 200,000 a year, right? Doubling it is normal. Your department is just starting out, and you joining now makes you one of the veterans. With our company's technology, it shouldn't be hard to achieve results, and then nobody will say anything. Zheng Fan reassured her. I just feel uncertain. My salary has more than doubled all of a sudden. I'm your safety net. If you feel uncertain, how can others get by? Besides, you're working based on your abilities, not just getting by. It might take some time to adjust to the new company, but you'll get used to it. After finishing the dishes, they sat down on the sofa to relax. Don't you have work tomorrow? Li Hong asked. My work can all be done online, so it doesn't make much difference whether I go or not. I've already made quite a splash, so lowering my presence a bit is better for everyone. Life is unfair. You hardly go to work, and your salary is more than 10 times mine. Li Hong complained. At least I'm the chief technology officer now. If my salary is too low, how can I attract talent? It would just be a joke. Haha, that's true. You, a middle school graduate, became a chief technology officer. What do you think others are thinking? They must feel quite uncomfortable. Li Hong suddenly laughed. I graduated from a technical school. Okay, a formal public vocational education center. I even spent 2 extra years after middle school. Zheng Fan countered. Oh, then you must be an honorary alumnus of your school. Should we invite you back for a lecture and donation? Don't say that. It's actually possible. I need to find time to go home and promote it. Wealth and honor should be returned to one's hometown. Otherwise, it's like wearing fine clothes at night. You're so full of yourself. By the way, my household registration is still there, and I haven't been back in years. The family house was sold long ago, so I don't even have a home to go back to. I haven't even burned incense at my parents' graves in a long time. Zheng Fan said, feeling a bit lost. Don't be sad. The past is just a challenge. Li Hong comforted him, wrapping her arms around him. You should still be able to buy land and build a house, right? It's even harder to get a rural household registration now. Forget it. Our village has too many people and too little land. I won't take up that land since I don't plan to live there anyway. I can just visit the graves when I have time. Honestly, even visiting the graves isn't necessary. Being filial while alive is enough. After death, there is no need for those formalities. It's all for show. The dead know nothing. Your thoughts are really unique. What's so special about it? I'm a materialist, and I admire the way the older generation of revolutionaries acted, being cremated after death and having their ashes scattered into the sea. What a carefree spirit. Let us not talk about this anymore. Aren't you playing games today? Li Hong changed the topic without responding. I'm currently in a gaming retreat and plan to log in after a while to see what changes there might be. I've definitely been showing signs of addiction lately. I need to cut back. So what do you do all day at home if you're not gaming? There are plenty of things to do. I have the complete 24 histories to keep me busy for years. Although I'm just a middle school student, I know just as much as you do. All right, I know you're exceptionally knowledgeable. Li Hong rolled her eyes at him. It's not that much. As long as I'm not ridiculed for being illiterate, it's mainly personal interest. Recently, I've been studying Tang history for gaming and found history quite interesting. Then let me quiz you. How many sons did Wu Zetian and Emperor Gaozong have? They had a total of 4 sons and 2 daughters. Emperor Gaozong also had 2 daughters and 4 sons with other women, but their fates weren't great. So many people back then really could have many children. He was an emperor, after all, with multiple wives. These are just the documented children. Those who died during childbirth or were stillborn. Who knows how many there were? That is true. The medical practices weren't developed, and the mortality rate was high. It wasn't just in ancient times, even for a long period after liberation. It was the same. As the old saying goes, poverty doesn't last beyond 3 generations. You're talking nonsense. It's that wealth doesn't last beyond 3 generations. No, if you're poor by the 3rd generation, you can't even find a wife, so there won't be a 4th generation. That joke isn't funny at all. The two continued to chat back and forth until after 10 o'clock, then went to bed. For several days in a row, Zheng Fan got up early to exercise. Then after breakfast, he stayed home reading and browsing the internet, without playing any games. Most of his time was spent focusing on studying Tang history. The Tang dynasty was another great unified dynasty following the Han dynasty, lasting through 21 emperors for a total of 289 years, and is recognized as one of the most prosperous periods in Chinese history. The Tang royal family originated during the Western Wei period and frequently intermarried with the Xinbei nobility, so their descendants had Xinbei blood. After seizing power, they treated the minority ethnic groups that submitted to them fairly, producing many famous generals. It was also the most open-minded dynasty in history and one of the most powerful empires in the world at that time, with a far-reaching reputation overseas and interactions with countries in Asia and Europe. At its height, the Tang dynasty's influence extended from the Korean peninsula in the east to the area around Hue in Vietnam in the south, west to the Caspian Sea and the Khorasan region, and north from Lake Baikal to the lower Yenisei River. In addition to the main annals that mostly record the daily lives of emperors, the Tang history also includes various volumes of astronomical calendars, geographical changes, court regulations, ceremonial systems, and more. The new Book of Tang provides even more detailed content in this regard. Compared to those narrative biographies, Zheng Fan found the administrative records much more overwhelming, with various sources and systems of etiquette, such as the 28 forms of folk music, the 7 tones, 7 modes, 7 scales, and 7 harmonies, leading to confusion and drowsiness while reading. These materials may be more helpful for understanding that era, but they really are uninteresting and difficult to grasp. Just looking up a single word can take a long time to figure out its meaning. Zheng Fan somewhat admires those learned experts and professors who manage to comprehend these extremely dull materials. It must take immense perseverance to do so, especially back then, when the internet wasn't as convenient for research. One had to flip through books, and sometimes the books weren't even available. He finally understood how the terms studying hard and diligently came to be. It's like having white hair, but still not finishing the reading. Just one history of the Tang dynasty could take him years to study, let alone the 24 histories, not to mention the Qing history, which is still not completed. It's said to be millions of words long when written in a modern style. Just thinking about it gives him a headache. Chapter 83. Work. After staying at home for a few days, Zheng Fan decided to change his mood and go out for a walk. He casually stepped outside and, without realizing it, walked to the Tuqing Park. Following the park southward, he arrived at the Film Academy near Jimen Bridge. Turning around and walking back slowly, suddenly a car stopped beside him, and a middle-aged man's face appeared at the window. Teacher Zheng, do you remember me? I'm sorry, you look familiar, but I can't recall your name. Zheng Fan recognized this person from a few days ago when he was doing a cameo in Huairou. They had seen each other in the crew but hadn't spoken, so he didn't know his name. Wu Dali. Wu from the mouth radical, Dali as in Popeye the Sailor. People in the industry call me Wu Da. He handed over a business card. It identified him as the general manager of a certain film agency, filled with various contact details and numerous roles in different productions in fine print. I'm tired from reading, just came out to relax. Zheng Fan replied honestly. It's not convenient to talk here. Get in the car, and we can chat. Where to? I'll give you a ride. Wu Dali warmly invited. No need. You go about your business. It's just a short walk for me. Zheng Fan felt no need to build rapport since they weren't familiar. All right. Let us connect when you have time. Goodbye, Teacher Zheng. Wu Dali still wore a big smile, politely bidding farewell before closing the window and driving off. After walking quite a distance back, Zheng Fan realized that this Wu Dali was someone who recruits extras. He had assumed Zheng Fan was an extra working there. Perhaps he thought knowing producer Huang Zhu had some networking value, so he took the initiative to build a connection. Zheng Fan was somewhat self-aware. He knew he wasn't cut out to be an actor and had no interest in that. Suddenly, a thought popped into his mind. After studying the Tang history for so long, why not write a script? He could have a Chung produce it into a big-budget film, which would not only promote the game, but also spread historical knowledge. If it could be shown in theaters, it could also help the company expand its business. He wondered how negotiations were going between Huang Zhu and the company. With the thought in mind, he began to consider where to start as he walked back. The early Tang dynasty had many famous military generals. Perhaps he should select material from there. Many of them are well known today, such as Li Jing, Cheng Yaojin, Qin Xiong, Yu Qigong, Shui Ringui, Guazi, etc., all of whom are leading figures in operas. Starting with Li Jing seemed like a good idea. Upon returning home, he gathered information. Li Jing was not particularly prominent among the meritorious officials in the Lingyan Pavilion of Emperor Taizong, ranking only 8th. However, he participated in numerous battles, including the campaign against Wang Shichong in Luoyang, the defeat of Xue Ju of the Western Qin, the pacification of the south against Xiao Xian, the suppression of the rebellion led by Fu Gongshi, the conquest of the Eastern Turkic Khaganate, and the defeat of the Tiyuhan, among others. He fought in almost every direction, and the battles that Li Jing took part in or led almost always ended in victory. Li Jing lived to the age of 79 and passed away peacefully. He was posthumously appointed as the right minister and honored as the Duke of Dai, later changed to Duke of Wei, and was popularly known as Li Weigong. After his death, he was posthumously awarded the title of Situ and governor of Bingzhou, with the posthumous name Jingwu, and was buried in Jiaoling. During the reign of Emperor Suzong, he was honored at the temple of King Wuqing, ranking among the 10 philosophers. After the late Tang period, he gradually became deified, and during the later Jin, he was posthumously titled King Lingxian. By the Southern Song dynasty, he was further posthumously honored as King Zongya, who provides spiritual guidance to the world. He opened his computer and called upon a Chong, asking him to retrieve information and videos related to Li Jing from the game world, preparing to edit them into a movie. This game also highly restored historical events, featuring almost all characters from historical records. By reasonably combining these characters and historical events, it formed the current historical background of the game. The game nearly replicated Li Jing's life experiences. His youth spent studying, his early career as an official, working alongside Li Yuan to fend off the Turks. Later discovering Li Yuan's conspiracy and preparing to report it, being captured in Chang'an and taken to the execution ground, and being rescued by Li Shimin before later serving the Tang dynasty and engaging in various military campaigns. These video materials could easily be edited into a 100-episode drama, but Zhang Fan lacked experience in editing, making it a challenge to decide what to include. Specialized skills were needed, so it was better to leave it to professionals. Zhang Fan began designing software that utilized the capabilities of the superintelligent A Chung for video generation, calling, and editing. The current game only utilized a small portion of A Cheng's simulated Earth system, but more dynasties would be opened in the future, allowing for a coherent narrative of Chinese history, and the map would not be limited to ancient China, but would encompass the entire world. This software was intended for collaboration with future film and television companies, allowing them to access some of A Cheng's capabilities to generate required film scenes and video materials, as well as for editing, post-production, and other functions. With superintelligence, most physical labor could be eliminated. Previously, creating such software would have required a team of hundreds working for a year, but now it could be done in just a few hours. Zhang Fan spent most of his time on functional design and post-debugging. Generating millions of lines of code was merely a matter of minutes for A Chung, and such speed and efficiency could render countless programmers unemployed. After completing the software, Zhang Fan conducted a simple test of its functions, found no issues, and uploaded it to the company server, then sent a group email to the executives explaining it. After finishing this software, he recalled the financial software mentioned by Fang Mei the other day, which was also a blind spot for him. However, since money is omnipotent, Zhang Fan downloaded all the classic software available on the market, registered for each, familiarized himself with their functions, and deposited 1 million to receive incredibly patient online guidance. The software in question is not primarily about its functionalities. Instead, its strength lies in its superintelligent data collection and analysis capabilities. It operates around the clock, rapidly receiving information, organizing various data related to companies, industry trends, and policy updates, providing quick analyses and recommendations. Compared to previous standalone programs, such as those for autonomous driving and intelligent customer service, this financial software resembles a simple input-output client application. Users input their capital, profit expectations, risk tolerance, and other data, and the software offers investment advice. It can also execute trades automatically, although all risks must be borne by the user, following the software's suggestions, such as buying a particular currency and then selling it shortly after. The user, Zhang Fan, quickly lost patience with monitoring the various curves and numbers. He decided to set the software to automatic trading mode. While browsing news online, he found it engaging and lost track of time for over 2 hours. When he switched back to the financial software, he was surprised to find that he had actually made a profit. He had divided 1 million into 3 portions for stock, currency, and futures trading, each yielding some gains. Over 100,000 earned in just 2 hours. This was impressive. Being conservative, Zhang Fan had set a goal of preserving capital with minimal risk, and making a 10% profit felt almost like cheating, especially since it was legal. He uploaded the software to the company's server and sent out a mass email. Feeling diligent, Zhang Fan thought he had earned his salary. But just as he turned to continue reading the news, he received a call from Gao Hua. I understand the first software is for collaboration with a media company. But what about the second one? Are we going to develop a paid financial software? Zhang Fan scratched his head. This is just a testing software. I'm not sure about A Cheng's capabilities in finance. It might take some time to learn and grow. We don't have the relevant qualifications. So let's test it internally for a while and see how it goes. What do you think? Gao Hua replied excitedly. That works too. Let's see if we can make money with it. If this can guarantee profits, it will be a powerful tool, giving us more leverage in financing negotiations. Chapter 84. The gaming capsule. After hanging up with Gao Hua, Zhang Fan thought for a moment and sent a message to Fang Mei, sharing the software with her for testing, since it was her suggestion. Fang Mei quickly sent a video call invitation. You're quite efficient. You've made this so quickly? This is a test version. The functionality is quite rough. I've just tried it for 2 hours, and it's made a 10% profit. You're a professional, so please provide some feedback. And remember to keep it confidential. Zhang Fan instructed. Sure, I know that making money for myself must be kept secret. Fang Mei replied with a mysterious smile. You bear the risks. If you profit, it's yours, and if you lose, that's also on you. I'm in this business, so no need for your reminders. Bye. After staying at home for a few days, Zhang Fan lost track of the date. It was only when he contacted others that he realized today was April 1st, the official release date of the gaming capsule. After the previous press conference, Full payment reservations began, priced at $31,888, with free delivery and installation at home. Early this morning, the first batch of reservations started shipping. I wonder how the response has been. It's already afternoon, and some should have experienced it by now. Just as I was thinking about this, I received a call from the delivery service that the gaming pods have arrived downstairs, and I need to go down to sign for them. After signing, I had to carry the heavy boxes upstairs myself, unpack them, and install them in the study, which made the already small room appear even smaller. The two gaming pods side by side took up nearly half of the study space. The new gaming pods are more exquisitely crafted, and the porcelain finish is even rounder and more beautiful. I hadn't played for a few days, so it was time to check it out and test the mass-produced gaming pod's performance. As I logged into the game with my phone for the first time, my body was still in a meditative state. I realized that my brain waves were malfunctioning. I couldn't control my body at all and couldn't sense its state. This had never happened during my first time in the gaming pod. Could it be a quality issue with the pod? That didn't make sense. Entering the pod and closing the door were both controlled by my brain waves, and logging into the game was the same, all functioning normally. I had been meditating in the game, so could it be a problem with my cultivation? Thinking of this, I focused my mind to enter that meditative state. Unfortunately, there was still no response. Suddenly, I heard faint voices from outside. Miss Xiaozhu, has the prince not come out yet? No, as usual. It's been 5 years. The prince is truly remarkable, not eating or drinking. Everything is just as normal. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't dare to believe it. I recognized the voice of the steward, Shi. The young master is destined to become an immortal. Xiaozhu's resolute voice came through. So much time has passed. Xiaozhu must be around 30 now. I wonder how she has changed. She must have made some progress in her cultivation and shouldn't have aged too much. Just as I was thinking this, Xiaozhu suddenly appeared before me, startling me. And I quickly retreated. As I distanced myself, I realized I had transformed into a formless presence, floating in the air. Is this what it feels like to have an out-of-body experience? Xiaozhu was speaking with Steward Shi, and neither of them reacted to my presence, indicating they hadn't noticed my spiritual state. Seeing Xiaozhu, who still looked as young as 18, lifted my spirits. She and Suizhu had insisted on not marrying and wanted to follow me. At least their cultivation achievements mean they haven't been treated poorly. I wonder how Li Hong is doing. How is he faring as emperor? Will his mother, Wu Zetian, continue to wield power behind the scenes? Just as I thought of this, the scene before me blurred, and when it cleared again, I found myself in the grand hall of the imperial city. A court meeting was underway, with Li Hong seated on the throne while a minister was reporting. There was no sign of Wu Zetian behind the curtain, so it seems she has peacefully retired to serve Li Ji. With a thought, the perspective shifted as if in a promotional video, looking down from above, revealing the grand scale of the entire Chang'an city, with tiny figures moving about like ants. It felt as if he could truly sense the cold wind high up in the air. Zhang Fan shivered all over, a wave of weakness washing over him, and his soul momentarily returned to the body meditating in the villa on Zhongnan Mountain. It was the same feeling as when he first entered the game. He couldn't control this body. What kind of state is this? Does it mean he has to sit here until the end of time? Zhang Fan thought to himself. He tried to enter the meditative state again, but still felt a sense of weakness and couldn't leave his body again. It seemed he had already exhausted too much energy and needed to recover slowly. He exited the game, left the gaming pod, and walked into the living room. Li Hong had already come home from work and was preparing dinner. Seeing him come out, she asked, "How's the new gaming pod? No issues, right? It's more refined than the test version. The experience is quite good. You can use the new one from now on. I'll stick with the old one." "Great. Then I won't be polite. I'll try it out after dinner." Their dinners usually consisted of 2 stir-fried dishes and a soup, with steamed buns or pancakes bought from outside. Li Hong controlled the amount of food precisely, so there were rarely leftovers, and they had just eaten enough. After dinner, Li Hong went to try the new gaming pod, while Zhang Fan opened his computer and entered the official game forum to see the feedback on the gaming pod. With over 30,000 units shipped, many people must have already experienced it. Having not logged in for a few days, the forum had accumulated over 100,000 posts, with replies reaching into the millions, and there were already more than 2,000 highlighted posts. The hot topics he had seen last time were no longer visible, but he did find the post by the user he had previously added, still featured on the homepage. Curious, he clicked to see that this user had started practicing with the guide he had given her and had updated a lot of insights. Many people had replied, and the post's popularity was steadily increasing. The game's name was Seeking Immortality, but there weren't many posts about practicing. The forum's content was diverse, covering everything from daily life to travel selfies, historical research, and more. Most people found it hard to obtain the methods for practicing, and even if they did, they might not have the conditions to practice, and even with the right conditions, not everyone had the perseverance to continue. They might as well enjoy the fun of the game. Scrolling to the end of the page, he finally found an unboxing video of the gaming pod. The gaming pod didn't support screenshot functions, so the experiences inside could only be described through the poster's words. The writer's ability was limited, only able to express shock and how revolutionary it was. It wasn't an exaggeration. In fact, those words felt a bit inadequate. After over 2 hours of brainwave training, he barely entered the game. His character seemed to move like someone suffering from the aftereffects of a stroke, slow and awkward. However, that didn't diminish the shocking experience the game provided. Everything felt incredibly real. The visual, auditory, tactile, gustatory, and olfactory sensations were more vivid and intricate than in reality. With severe myopia, he found that it was completely non-existent in the game. He had better vision than when wearing glasses in real life. Having been awed by the experience on a 4K screen before, he realized that experience was nothing compared to this. He felt he could never go back to the past. Stop. I'm going to spend the night in the gaming pod. Darling, when the mountains crumble and the rivers run dry, when winter thunders and summer snows. Only then will I dare to part with you. Chapter 85. Interview. The post about the gaming pod unboxing experience quickly gained popularity, with replies reaching over 1,000 and continuing to increase, filled with words of envy and jealousy. Soon, a second post about another gaming pod experience appeared. The poster was a female player, and her writing was even better than the previous one, making readers feel as if they were there. In the early morning, I woke up to the chirping of birds. The room was filled with the fragrance of peach blossoms outside. I put on a smooth, wide-sleeved gauze robe, feeling a slight chill of late spring, and draped a shawl brought by a maid over my shoulders. In the bright copper mirror, my fair skin was clearly reflected, and my long, shiny black hair was styled into a popular half-updo by the maid. Breakfast was a light bowl of noodle soup accompanied by slices of marinated lamb. After the meal, I took a newly made ox cart, still faintly smelling of tung oil, to the outskirts of the city for a leisurely outing. The first reply to the post was, "Miss, how young are you? Are you promised to someone? Someone, please drag this frivolous rascal away and punish him. Hey buddy upstairs, that punishment is too harsh. A graceful lady deserves a gentleman's attention. What's wrong with that? I support the third floor. Stop arguing. Haven't you seen her hairstyle? Clearly, she's a married woman. Even if a beautiful flower has an owner, I can still loosen the soil. Here comes the third floor again, getting lively." The replies below this post were diverse, praising, teasing, flattering, and protecting. It made me laugh so much that my stomach hurt. There were too many bizarre posts in the forum. I read for over 2 hours until Li Hong came out of the gaming pod, and then I logged off and went to sleep. The next morning, I went to the club to work out and ran into reporter Gao Fan, whom I hadn't seen for a few days. She was wearing a dark gray sports tank top and matching leggings that accentuated her sexy curves. She tied her jacket around her waist, covering her lower body curves. "Have you missed me these past few days?" Gao Fan's words were bold and direct. I responded with a chuckle and changed the topic. "Have you been out interviewing?" "I went to a place with beautiful scenery. I didn't want to come back." "Your job is great. You can travel everywhere at the company's expense," I said enviously, my feet still running on the treadmill. "That's a bit hard to swallow. You aren't short on money, are you? You can go wherever you want. Why envy someone like me who's just working?" Gao Fan set up the treadmill and started jogging. "How can you tell I'm not short on money? Come on. I'm a reporter. Show some respect for my profession, okay? What kind of people haven't I seen? Besides, you've already told me your name. How could I not look into your background? You're not some nobody." Gao Fan joked. "All right, I apologize. I focused on running. What's wrong? Are you mad at me? A big man shouldn't be so petty, right? I'm not mad. Just focus on running. Be careful not to get a cramp." I found the situation a bit amusing. Once we get familiar with each other, we've worked out together several times, so we can be considered old acquaintances. You have to accept my exclusive interview. Otherwise, it means you're still upset. As expected from a journalist, you seize the opportunity and reveal your true colors immediately. What is so special about interviewing me? You could interview others instead. Zhang Fan declined. They've been interviewed many times already. I have exclusive channels for news. And you are the creator of a super intelligent invention that hasn't been featured in an exclusive interview yet. Gao Fan came prepared. "Since you know so much, can you not force me into this? I don't want to be exposed." Of course, interviews should be voluntary from the person involved. If you're not willing to do an exclusive interview, can I at least ask you a few other questions? Don't worry, I won't disclose your name. Gao Fan's attitude was almost as if he was about to shove a microphone in front of Zhang Fan. "I'm working out now. Can we talk later?" "Okay. No problem." After the workout, they exited the club and found a less crowded restaurant for breakfast. Gao Fan took out a prepared voice recorder and a small notebook, ready to start formally. "Your company's Meng 2 software has sparked a significant political storm across the Pacific. Was this intentional on your part?" Gao Fan's question seemed premeditated. Meng 2 is merely a tool software based on artificial intelligence technology, distributed only domestically and completely free. Its code of conduct must comply with domestic laws and regulations. Any other outcomes are beyond our prediction and control. Zheng Fan's response was the standard official answer, which Liu Yifan and the others had repeated many times. You can exert some influence over this software, right? Gao Fan was clearly not easily fooled. This software has a certain level of artificial intelligence, and its most significant influence comes from its users. Users' habits, preferences, and language styles will directly impact its development. Please answer my question directly and don't change the subject. The influence I can exert is limited to the formulation of the software's behavioral rules. These are universal rules and cannot target any specific individual. Zheng Fan understood Gao Fan's deeper implication, but regrettably found it contrary to her expectations. Since it's only distributed domestically, can you modify the rules to prohibit the software from operating elsewhere? That is possible, but it's completely unnecessary, as many people need to work, travel, and live abroad, etc. Alright then, let us change the topic. The new laws have lifted restrictions on autonomous vehicles, and you've signed authorization agreements with several automotive manufacturers. It's foreseeable that autonomous driving will fully replace human driving, leading to many people losing their jobs. What are your thoughts on this? Zheng Fan sensed something was off. Gao Fan claimed it was no longer an exclusive interview. Yet the questions were clearly targeted at him personally. Autonomous driving significantly improves travel efficiency and reduces various traffic accidents, killing two birds with one stone. One of the achievements of human technological development is the continuous process of machines replacing human labor, right? Many people will lose their jobs. That is something the government should consider. Given our country's current production capacity, even with only a small portion of people working, everyone can still have enough to eat. Is this your prediction for the future? It should be a common view among many people. The impacts and changes brought by artificial intelligence have been studied by experts and scholars both domestically and internationally for decades, and various opinions have already influenced countless individuals. Turning the page of his notebook, Gao Fan changed the topic. Let's talk about the game Seeking Immortality. Can you share the original intention behind developing this game? Zheng Fan replied honestly. We are a company focused on developing brainwave-based gaming pods, and by chance, we created an artificial intelligence program that later evolved into superintelligence. To harness its maximum potential, we decided to create a multi-terminal game, which led to Seeking Immortality. This game is different from previous ones as it does not have divisions, but it has created a way for multiple spatial dimensions to operate simultaneously. Was this a measure taken to alleviate the pressure on a single server group? Gao Fan's question was quite sharp. Busy answering questions, Zheng Fan had only eaten 2 of the dumplings he ordered, finished them in one go, and then drank half a bowl of millet porridge before responding. The name of this game was proposed by our planning department, but all other settings, content production, and operational methods were completed independently by the superintelligence. The current operation and maintenance are also handled by the superintelligence. We are just ordinary players in it, without any special privileges. As for your question, I can only offer my personal understanding. During the early Tang dynasty, the population was around 20 million, and even at its peak during the Kaiyuan era, it did not exceed 90 million, while our current game has registered players exceeding 20 million. If so many people were crammed into the same dimension, the experience would be quite poor. Finishing the remaining porridge, Zheng Fan asked the owner to pack another portion as he prepared to leave. One last question. Will this game open up other dynasties? If so, when will it happen? There will definitely be other dynasties. I don't know how to unlock them. There should be certain triggering conditions that require the collective effort of all players. Zheng Fan said as he left. Wait, there's one more question. Gao Fan chased after him, one hand holding a notebook and recording pen, the other hand carrying a plastic bag containing some buns he hadn't had time to eat. Weren't you just asking your last question? Slow down, what's the rush? I live right below you. Where could I run off to? With only a few hundred spots available daily for the gaming pods, are you employing a scarcity marketing strategy? Our production capacity is limited. We have already invested heavily to expand our capacity, but it takes time. By the end of the year, we hope to reach an annual production capacity of 100,000 units. Zheng Fan's response was also a standard answer. Oh, then I guess that's it. Thank you for the breakfast, Zheng Fan. Sorry, but I don't live here, hee. Gao Fan apologized awkwardly. Zheng Fan was speechless. So, past encounters were not coincidences after all. Well then, you've achieved your goal. I hope you keep your promise. Don't worry, we are a legitimate newspaper. Even if I write it, the editor-in-chief won't approve it. Goodbye. Watching Gao Fan walk to the roadside and get into a parked car before driving away, Zheng Fan turned back and walked into the community. He returned home about 10 minutes later than usual, and Li Hong had already finished cleaning. Why are you late today? Did you have to queue earlier? Oh, don't mention it. I ran into a reporter. She insisted on interviewing me. Zheng Fan handed the breakfast he brought back to Li Hong. You eat first, let me tell you slowly. Remember I mentioned meeting a neighbor at the gym last time? Li Hong responded. Is she the reporter? Sexy and bold. Even took the initiative to talk to you? I didn't say that. Do I even need you to say it? I could guess that. Well, you guessed right. I don't need to say more. Come on, tell me. I can't guess the details. I'm all ears. I want to interrupt. So, Zhang Fan recounted their encounters, running together and bumping into each other in the elevator. Up to the point where today's interview ended and Gao Fan said she didn't live there, then drove away. Wow, you've hidden so much. Are you disappointed that the romantic encounter you were hoping for didn't happen? Haha, serves you right. Li Hong laughed so hard she couldn't eat anymore. Not forgetting to tease him. You woman, you have no sympathy at all. Zhang Fan said angrily. Uffed. You failed to flirt with another woman and now come to me for comfort. Not a chance. I didn't flirt with anyone, okay? I'm the victim. Zhang Fan lay back on the sofa, speechless. Can you honestly say you didn't have any thoughts in that regard? And you still dare to call yourself the victim? Li Hong took a bite of her bun and said fiercely, if a woman dresses so sexy and comes to talk to me, is it a crime to have a thought or two? No wonder you get up early every day to run to the gym on time. The first time she came on to you, what about the next few times? Zhang Fan was a bit at a loss for words. He indeed had some expectations in his heart. All right, it's not your fault. It's me being distant. This is all for preparing for pregnancy. Li Hong came over and patted Zhang Fan's head, comforting him. That reporter too. Why all the extra tricks while interviewing? Bullying honest people. After dinner, Li Hong went to work, and Zhang Fan continued to stay at home alone. He opened his computer and glanced at the financial software that had been running all night. This software didn't directly buy or sell stocks or foreign exchange futures, but instead traded indirectly through accounts Zhang Fan managed on other authorized platforms, effectively operating on his behalf, which is a specialty of artificial intelligence software. The specific analysis and decisions came from advanced intelligence behind it. The account balance had grown to 1.2 million, increasing by 20 in less than a day. This speed was frightening, as risk and return are proportional. Would he end up losing everything one day? Zhang Fan felt a bit uncertain. Thinking of this, he decided to withdraw some capital. No matter what, he wouldn't lose everything. Although he didn't mind the million too much, it was still his money, and losing any amount would hurt. He considered the 200,000 as a bonus. And if he lost it, it would just return to where it belonged. It really is a different world now. This time last year, I was working tirelessly to pay off debts, and now I can easily disregard 200,000. Nowadays, software must have a mobile version. So I also created a mobile app. Once it was set up, several applications for stock trading, currency trading, futures, and foreign stocks began running, allowing them to help me earn slowly. At that moment, I received a call from my financial advisor at the bank, asking if the account changes were made by me. Since all my software is linked to this bank, I said I was studying financial management and had authorized the operations. Just after hanging up, I got a call from Fong Mei, Zhang Fan. Zhang Fan, you're amazing. I've made money. Do you know how much? I switched the call to speaker mode and placed the phone on the table. You're so loud. How much did you make to be this excited? Over 10 million. I invested 5 million yesterday, and it doubled overnight. This is all my own money. How can I not be excited? It took me over 10 years to save 10 million, and now I made it in just one night. Fong Mei's excitement was palpable even through the phone. You're too bold to invest 5 million at once, especially in high-risk options. You've got some guts. If you don't have this kind of courage, how can you survive in our industry? I believed in you, but I didn't expect the returns to exceed my expectations. I advise you to take your capital back first, even if it means earning less. Don't let it all slip away. I advised. I know what I'm doing. I must thank you. Let me gift you a car. What brand do you like? Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Land Rover, or a sports car? Anything. Fong Mei asked. No need for a gift. I have a car. Just don't come crying to me if you lose money. I replied. I just made a mobile version of the software. I'll send it to you shortly. Make sure to keep it confidential. I reminded her. Got it. I didn't even tell Ho Chang. Chapter 87. Ransomware after hanging up with Fong Mei. I received a call from Ho Chang just a few minutes later. Brother Zhang, I need your help with something. What is it? Just tell me, and I'll help if I can. I didn't dare to boast. It's hard to explain over the phone. Where are you? I'll come find you. I'm at home, at Jinshuyuan. Do you know it? Building 6, apartment 2602. Got it. Wait for me. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Ho Chang arrived quickly. In less than 10 minutes, accompanied by a young and impressive female police officer in uniform, with a second-level police insignia on her shoulder. I invited them to sit on the sofa and handed them 2 bottles of purified water. All right, enough of this small talk. Let us see if we can solve the problem. Ho Chang placed a laptop on the coffee table, opened it, and turned it towards me. The laptop displayed a website login interface, obscured by a shield with chains, which bore 2 lines of English text indicating that to unlock it, one must pay 1,000 bitcoins to a certain account. What kind of website is this? It's worth so much? 1,000 bitcoins are nearly worth 100 million. I laughed. The login interface of the securities company's backend shows that the daily transaction amount is at least several hundred million. Now that they can't log in, All transactions are halted. Can you resolve this quickly? Ho Ching asked anxiously. That depends on how you want to resolve it. Do you just want to unlock access? Or do you want to apprehend the mastermind behind this? The difficulty varies. Zhang Fan replied leisurely. It seems you are quite confident. Of course. It would be best to unlock access first, and if we can apprehend the criminals, that would be even better. Ho Ching smiled. For such matters, it has to be formal. You need to issue a request for technical support from our company in the name of your agency. It requires mobilizing advanced computational power and official permission. We might have to use some unconventional network methods. Zhang Fan said seriously. How long will that take? It depends on your administrative efficiency. Online speed is measured in seconds. I can accompany you. Can't you resolve it first? I'll provide the necessary paperwork later. I can also give you an award for advanced cooperation between the police and the public. If it were just me helping personally, that would be fine. But using advanced technology, you'd better consult first. Everything must follow proper procedures. Zhang Fan said cautiously. All right, let's proceed as you say. Zhang Fan followed them back to the substation. After going through a set of procedures, requesting approval, and receiving the official document, it took over an hour. This was expedited due to the significant influence of the securities company. The cooperation and authorization documents were sent to the company's email. Zhang Fan called Gao Hua, logged into the email on his phone, and sent a receipt. The female officer who had been following them asked, Can we unlock it now? Where's your laptop? Try logging in. Zhang Fan gestured. The female officer, somewhat skeptical, opened the laptop. The shield and chain were already gone. She entered the username and password and logged in without any issues. So fast. I didn't see you do anything. Ho Ching was puzzled. Check your email. Zhang Fan instructed the female officer. The female officer logged into their substation's website email and found a new email. Upon opening it, she saw a long English email with several compressed attachment files. Is this the attack path of the extortionist? The female officer was evidently skilled with computers. It also contains the tools they used, the process of the crime, and detailed identity information of the participants, including addresses, etc. Whether we can catch them depends on your methods. Zhang Fan explained. This advanced technology is incredibly efficient. We just send an email, and this problem is solved? Ho Ching marveled. This is a dimensionality reduction attack. Its power is immense, which is why we are so cautious. Now I understand what you meant the other day. If this technology collaborates with our law enforcement system, tracking down criminals would be a matter of minutes. Unless they avoid the internet and phones, hiding deep in the mountains, that would be worse than being in prison. Ho Ching received a phone call, responded with a few MMHMS, and hung up. The president of Tiannan Securities called, saying their website is accessible now and inviting him to dinner. Are you going? This is a formal matter. I won't go, too much trouble. If you have nothing else, I'll head back. Zhang Fan prepared to leave. Don't. You can't come here for nothing. There are many fugitives wanted online. Help us go through them. Maybe we can catch a few more. I could gain some credit from this. Ho Ching suddenly came up with an idea. Your suggestion is good. Unfortunately, you don't have enough authority. Tracking fugitives requires access to the police system, as well as the civil affairs system, local traffic management systems, surveillance systems in public places like hotels, internet cafes, shopping malls, and office buildings, communication service providers' databases, online payment systems, and many other systems. This isn't something a single document can resolve. With that said, our minister can't solve it either. Power should not be abused, especially when it involves superintelligence. If we don't set rules from the beginning, we'll end up in trouble ourselves. All right. You make a good point. Then I'll take you back. Ho Ching said as he picked up the car keys. I'm just a free agent. I can go back myself. You go ahead and do your thing. Zhang Fan declined Ho Ching's offer and leisurely walked out of the West City branch. Approaching noon, the weather was quite warm. After a few minutes of walking east, he arrived at Shidong North Street. He found a noodle shop, ordered a bowl of braised noodles, and placed his phone on the table to scroll through the news while peeling garlic. At this time, it wasn't mealtime yet, and there weren't many people in the restaurant. Zhang Fan peeled 3 cloves of garlic and set them aside. In less than 3 minutes, the noodles were ready and served. In a round, big bowl that looked more like a small soup basin, there was a generous serving of noodles, with green cilantro, white broth, black fungus, wide noodle strips, and a few slices of lamb. The rich aroma immediately made Zhang Fan's mouth water, and he quickly took a piece of lamb to satisfy his craving. He devoured the garlic along with the noodles, finishing the entire bowl in less than 10 minutes, even drinking the broth clean. After scanning the QR code to pay, he left the restaurant and strolled around the street, but didn't find anything he wanted to buy. He then entered the subway station to head home. The subway platform was crowded, and the train was even more packed. He squeezed into the carriage with the flow of people, with all the seats taken. He found a pole to hold onto, surrounded by people, as the train slowly started moving and began to sway gently. As the train made stops, the number of passengers decreased significantly. Zhang Fan stretched his stiff body. Finally, he spotted an empty seat, but unfortunately, he had to get off after just one stop. When he got home, Li Hong had already returned from work. Since her office was very close, she came back every day for lunch. She preferred to cook for herself and rarely ate out, while Zhang Fan was indifferent, opting for whatever was convenient. Have you eaten? I didn't make anything for you. If you want something, go cook it yourself, Li Hong said as she finished a bowl of noodles. I ate out. Zhang Fan lay down on the sofa. Feeling down? You look a bit listless, and are you still upset about this morning? Li Hong asked. What happened? Oh, you mean the journalist thing? That was ages ago. I just find it quite boring to stay at home all day. Zhang Fan felt that the morning's events had happened a long time ago. Boring? Then go to work. Work is even more boring. I'm not going. Then play games. Even playing games has become boring. Nothing seems interesting anymore. Are you feeling depressed? Li Hong joked. Maybe. What should I do? Zhang Fan replied seriously, feeling that he might really be depressed. Don't stay cooped up at home all the time. Go out and have some fun. I don't want to go anywhere. When I go out, all I think about is getting back home. Then I don't know what else to do. I'll ask Brother Su for you when I get to work. He should understand this. All right, I'll take a nap. Zhang Fan lay down on the sofa, not wanting to move. Go sleep on the bed. It's uncomfortable here. Li Hong pulled his arm to get him up and led him to the bedroom. Lying in bed with his eyes closed, Zhang Fan never fell asleep. He felt Li Hong lie down next to him for a nap, then quietly get up to go to work. Still with his eyes closed, he didn't want to move. His brain was too lazy to think. Just lying there in a daze, yet he couldn't fall asleep. This state felt similar to the meditation in games, where the mind is clear, but the mood was entirely different. In the game, while meditating, his whole body felt comfortable, wanting to continue indefinitely. Now, he felt utterly bored and lifeless. Everything seemed uninteresting, and he didn't want to do anything. Suddenly, he heard the sound of the door. He could recognize Li Hong's footsteps. Didn't she just leave for work? Why was she back? She probably forgot something. Hey, Zhang Fan. Stop sleeping. You've been lying down all afternoon. Li Hong shook his shoulder. I wasn't sleeping. Just lying here. Zhang Fan opened his eyes. Still claiming you weren't sleeping? I've been at work for the whole afternoon. It's already past 5. If you weren't asleep, how could time pass so quickly? Li Hong said helplessly. What? I didn't feel like I fell asleep. Zhang Fan was a bit puzzled. All right, stop lying around. Get up and help me make dumplings. Li Hong pulled him up. Li Hong had already bought the ground meat and needed to chop some green onions and ginger, adding some seasonings to mix. You chop up 2 green onions. I'll make the dough. Li Hong assigned the tasks. The green onions were nearly a meter long, with a diameter of 2 or 3 centimeters. After peeling off the dry skin and removing the roots and yellow leaves, he washed them clean in the sink, then cut them into small sections on the cutting board, and finally diced them into smaller pieces. Zhang Fan's knife skills were both fast and steady. The sound of the knife cutting through the onions was almost the only noise. As he finished chopping before Li Hong even finished mixing the dough. Not bad. You chopped them really well. Now cut a small piece of ginger. The finer the better. Li Hong praised him. A piece the size of a fingertip was enough. He washed it, sliced it, and diced it within 2 to 3 minutes. He added the minced ginger, soy sauce, cooking wine, oyster sauce, 5-spice powder, egg, starch, salt, and other seasonings into the ground meat. Zhang Fan, the human mixing machine, grabbed a pair of stainless steel chopsticks and began to mix vigorously. Once it was mixed well, Li Hong heated some Sichuan pepper oil, poured the chopped green onion into the meat mixture, and drizzled the hot oil over it, releasing a strong aroma of scallions. Once again, he activated the human mixing machine to blend it evenly, and the filling for the pork and green onion dumplings was complete. Li Hong dipped her finger in, licked it with her tongue, and said, not bad. That's good. 2 people moved the prepared dough and filling to the outdoor table and started making dumplings. They sprinkled a handful of flour evenly on the table, took a piece of dough, rolled it into a long stick, and cut it into even small pieces. Then, using a rolling pin, they rolled each piece into round dumpling wrappers that were thick in the middle and thin at the edges. One person rolled the wrappers while the other filled and shaped the dumplings. Zhang Fan had already rolled out 2 large stacks of wrappers, while Li Hong had just finished making a dozen dumplings. All right, take a break. Don't roll too many at once, or they'll stick together. Li Hong stopped Zhang Fan from continuing to roll the wrappers. Then I'll help you with the filling. Although the dumplings Zhang Fan shaped were a bit misshapen, he soon got the hang of it, and they started looking decent after a few tries. I told Su Ge that you might get depressed. Guess what he said? Li Hong couldn't help but laugh. How ridiculous. Haha, you two really think alike. Sigh. I've realized that not everyone can be a homebody. I still lack skills. Zhang Fan sighed. Let us go on a road trip this weekend. Where do you want to go? Li Hong asked. I want to go to Tibet. No way. We can't get there in 2 days. Think of something realistic. How about going to Shidu? It's closer, and 2 days should be enough. Zhang Fan had to compromise and chose a nearby location. That sounds good. I haven't been there yet. I always hear people say it's fun, with rafting, bungee jumping, and a glass walkway. With a mix of guys and girls, it won't be tiring, and soon we'll have a table full of dumplings. They put most of the dumplings in the freezer to save for later, leaving a few dozen for a meal for the two of them. After finishing the dumplings, Li Hong went to play games, while Zhang Fan didn't want to continue with the virtual reality and instead browsed the internet for a while before resting. He initially thought that after a few hours of sleep in the afternoon, he wouldn't be able to sleep at night, but surprisingly, he fell asleep quickly. He had a dreamless night and woke up early the next day. He couldn't let Li Hong mock him for going out for morning exercises just for romantic encounters. So he continued to go to the fitness club. He got out of bed quietly, got dressed, brushed his teeth, washed his face, and headed out. He wasn't the earliest one. There were many people who arrived before him. Zhang Fan was quite nostalgic and exercised on the treadmill in the innermost corner every day. Gradually, this machine was rarely used in the mornings and had almost become his exclusive equipment. After running for 40 minutes and doing some bench presses, he went out for breakfast. A new day began. Over the next few days, he stayed at home, read books, went online, and occasionally checked the numbers accumulated in his financial software. The numbers in the software had increased from 200,000 to 500,000. Zhang Fan still chose a low-risk strategy, and in just a few days, it had more than doubled and continued to grow. Fang Mei hadn't called again. Probably because her capital hadn't been exhausted yet. He wondered how many times it had multiplied. On Saturday morning, after they got up and had breakfast, they set off. At that time, the leaves were just beginning to bud, and it wasn't yet the best season for sightseeing. Fortunately, Shidu offered more than just views. Many man-made entertainment projects were also quite good. The journey of over 100 kilometers took less than 2 hours to complete. At this time of year, there aren't many visitors here. Zhang Fan had already looked up travel guides online, and their first stop was to explore Guxinjai and see the one-line sky. They arrived just after 9 o'clock, and the parking lot was nearly empty with only a few cars. After buying tickets to enter the Guxinjai scenic area, they were greeted by an iron chain bridge spanning the Juma River, swaying as it connected to the opposite bank. The bridge's surface was painted in vibrant colors, and it shook as they walked across. After crossing the bridge, they took a shuttle bus down the mountain, followed a riverbed of giant stones where a small stream flowed, and climbed up a narrow mountain path for about 10 minutes until they reached the entrance of the one-line sky. Chapter 89. Bungee jumping. The so-called one-line sky is a vertical fissure in a steep rock wall several dozen meters high. The widest part of the fissure is just over a meter, while the narrowest is only a few dozen centimeters. The scenic area has constructed a passage within the fissure, allowing people to walk through the narrow gap. Li Hong and Zhang Fan held hands, walking in one after the other, with dark rock walls on both sides and only a sliver of light overhead. The temperature felt much cooler, and the wonders of nature were truly amazing. They might have arrived early, as there were no other visitors around. The light was ample at the entrance, but it diminished as they ventured deeper, eventually leading to complete darkness, with only a sliver of light above. Fortunately, it was only a few dozen meters long, and they quickly made it through. After passing through the one-line sky, they followed the constructed path down the mountain and went to see a group of waterfalls. Unfortunately, the timing was not right, and the water flow was too low, making the waterfalls unimpressive. They treated it as a mountain climbing exercise instead. Finally, they walked across the swaying, colorful iron chain bridge to exit the scenic area, taking over 2 hours to stroll and stop along the way. That wasn't very interesting. It was just walking and climbing, Li Hong remarked as they got back to the parking lot. Let's find a place for lunch, and then you can choose between rafting or bungee jumping. Let's go bungee jumping for some excitement. Aren't you feeling down? This will help, Li Hong suggested. As long as you're not scared, I don't mind. Let's go to Juma Paradise for bungee jumping. We can have lunch afterward. Otherwise, I might throw up, huh? Zhang Fan laughed. Since it was the off-season with fewer people, there were only a few in line when they bought tickets, which cost 260 each. They also had to fill out a registration form with information such as height, weight, age, and any medical conditions. They could choose to have staff take photos and videos for an additional 70 yuan, or they could ask a friend to help. After purchasing tickets, they took the cable car to the halfway point and directly arrived at the bungee jumping platform. Ahead of them was another couple. The man secured his feet for the jump, and after the staff confirmed the harness was secure, he excitedly sprinted off the edge. The cord stretched to its lowest point, bouncing 3 or 4 times before slowly swinging in the air, eventually landing on a boat below. From a height of over 50 meters, they could see the man waving up from the boat. The woman, harnessed around her waist and shoulders, requested the staff to double-check her equipment multiple times before she approached the edge of the jump platform, her legs trembling as she hesitated to leap. The staff persuaded her for a few minutes, explaining that the tickets were already purchased and there would be no refunds if she didn't jump, assuring her that the ropes were very safe. However, they ultimately couldn't convince her, so they helped her untie the ropes and let her return the way she came. You wouldn't be like that, would you? Zhang Fan asked Li Hong. How could I? I've seen life and death. Li Hong retorted defiantly. All right, I'll jump first to show you. The staff had already prepared the ropes again and called for the next participant. It was their turn. Are you tying your waist or your feet? I haven't jumped before either, you decide. Zhang Fan said nonchalantly. Then let's tie your feet. As the staff tied the ropes, they explained some safety precautions. Once the ropes were secured, Zhang Fan walked to the edge of the bungee jumping platform, looked down, and saw the beautiful weather, bright sunshine, and the green river below with blue boats and staff in orange life jackets. Li Hong, I'm waiting for you down here. Zhang Fan called back to see Li Hong watching him from behind. At that moment, he couldn't hesitate. He turned around, closed his eyes, and dove head first off the platform. His mind went blank for an instant, as if he had frozen, and by the time he regained his senses, the rope had already started to rebound. His body was inverted, blood rushing to his head. The sensation was quite unpleasant. Fortunately, after bouncing 3 or 4 times, the force diminished, and the rope began to lower him. Zhang Fan reached for the pole held up by the staff on the boat and lay down on it, at which point the rope tied to his feet was untied. He stood on the boat waiting without first going ashore. Li Hong chose to tie her waist, and as she reached the edge of the platform, she hesitated barely at all. With her arms open, she fell backward off the platform. The rebound height might have been related to her weight. Being lighter, she rebounded higher, but after 3 bounces, the force lessened. After swaying for a few seconds, the rope began to lower. Zhang Fan quickly grabbed the pole. Catch it, catch it. When Li Hong landed on the boat, they untied her ropes, and the boat started moving toward the shore. How was it? Was it thrilling? I didn't feel much. My head was buzzing, and before I could really experience it, it was over. Li Hong's experience was similar to his. Let us go ashore and jump again. Zhang Fan suggested. Master, can we jump consecutively? Li Hong asked. Why not? We need to collect the money anyway. The staff member clearly had seen this situation many times. Let us jump again. So, after going ashore, the two excitedly queued up to buy tickets again, took the cable car up the mountain, and prepared for their second jump. The same staff member tied their ropes and recognized them. Smiling, he asked, So, you two didn't get enough the first time? Yeah, this time I'll go first. I want to jump with my feet tied. Li Hong quickly said. The second jump saw Li Hong much more at ease. She stood at the edge of the platform, warmed up her body, and then dove down with her hands behind her head. The first rebound was very high, just a few meters away from the platform where they stood, and Zhang Fan felt he could almost pull her back, but of course, that was impossible. The second rebound was less than half of the first, and by the third bounce, there was hardly any force left, and she slowly descended back onto the boat. Zhang Fan chose to experience the feeling of being tied at the waist. Standing at the edge of the platform, he spread his arms and leaned back. The sound of the wind whooshing past his ears reminded him of a classic scene from a famous movie. Before he could fully savor the moment, the ropes around him tightened, and he was already at the bottom. Then he bounced back up quickly, getting closer to the base of the jump platform, before continuing to fall, bounce, and fall again, grabbing the pole and landing on the boat. He felt it was still not enough. The distance was too short. Zhang Fan exclaimed. Haha, are you addicted to jumping? Not going to eat? Li Hong laughed. All right, let's go eat first. There were restaurants run by locals outside the attraction, and the two chose a bustling one to walk into. It was just past noon, the busiest time for the restaurant, with large pots of stir-fried dishes available, and they could also order smaller dishes. Seeing so many people, they wisely chose 3 large pot dishes and a few baked pancakes to fill their stomachs first. As they were both quite hungry, the season was not right for many special dishes, and the large pot offerings were just common ones like shredded pork and garlic sauce, vinegar stir-fried potato shreds, and cold pig skin jelly. Fortunately, the freshly baked pancakes were quite tasty, and they ordered a bowl of tomato and egg soup as well. After a long day of activities, Li Hong had a bigger appetite than usual. After finishing the pancakes, the two of them together polished off half a large bowl of egg soup before finally feeling full. I see there's a rafting project over here. Should we play here for a while? Li Hong asked. They had originally planned to go to a different location, but since there were other activities here, Zhang Fan replied. Let us play something else first. It'll be a hassle if our clothes get wet. Many of them are aerial activities. Let us try the cliff swing first. Li Hong said eagerly. All right, I'll follow your lead. Chapter 90. Free meal. They didn't shout much during the bungee jump, but they screamed loudly on the cliff swing, as both of their adventurous spirits were activated. After the cliff swing, they continued with the canyon flyer and wingsuit gliding. Compared to these, the teacup rides and merry-go-rounds felt like a break. There were many activities, each taking at least 10 minutes, and some over half an hour. The afternoon passed quickly, and they ultimately didn't go rafting, mainly because the temperature was a bit low, and there were fewer people. They got in the car and headed straight home, not planning to stay overnight. As they reviewed the day's activities in the car, Zhang Fan felt that the bungee jump left him wanting more, while the others were just enough for a single try. Are we coming back tomorrow? Li Hong asked. Probably not. The scenery right now is not appealing, and rafting should be fun, but it's not suitable now. We can come back when it's warmer. It's close anyway, Zheng Fan replied, losing interest. Okay, I'll go with your decision. Are you still feeling down? You said it yourself, I'm just bored. Why would I be down? As long as you're not depressed. Next time, you should take a few more days off, and we can go somewhere farther. I heard the bungee jump at the Huanghuasha Dam in Guizhou is 370 meters high and ranks first in the Guinness World Records. We should jump there if we get the chance. Zheng Fan said with longing. You still haven't jumped enough, huh? Aren't you the same? Haha, that is true. Next time let us go bungee jumping at Huanghuashu in Guizhou. Do you have a plan? When is the next time? Don't just make empty promises. Zheng Fan asked. How was the May Day Golden Week? I'm fine with it, just staying at home every day. Alright, let's book a trip to Guizhou for May Day. Then we can't drive. Let's take a plane. I'll book the tickets and hotel in advance. Zheng Fan quickly confirmed it. I'll leave it all to you to arrange. Li Hong agreed. The car was parked in the underground garage of the community, and Zheng Fan took out 2 sets of clothes from the trunk that they prepared to change into. Since they didn't go rafting, they didn't change clothes and brought them back as they were. By the time they got home, it was already past 7 in the evening, and they had left at around 7 in the morning, so it was exactly 12 hours. They entered the house, changed shoes, tossed the backpack on the floor, and collapsed onto the sofa. So comfortable. What should we eat for dinner? I don't want to cook. Li Hong asked. There are dumplings. I'll go boil them. Zheng Fan suggested. Sounds good. So Zheng Fan went to the kitchen, added water to the electric pot, turned on the heat to boil the water, and set a 10-minute timer on his phone. He returned to the sofa to continue lying down. How's that nursing robot project of yours going? Zheng Fan asked. The second batch has been custom-made with 1,000 units, and we've contacted 20 hospitals, each getting 50 units for free trial. We'll see the results. If there are no major issues, we can go into mass production. I feel pretty good about it. Not only can it work, but it also patiently chats with patients, has a great temperament, and can even provide psychological counseling. It's more versatile than our human nurses. Li Hong spoke animatedly about her work. How about the costs? How many can you produce in a year? Much lower than the gaming pods. It's all mature technology, and most of the components are common in the market. So we can produce several 100,000 units annually without needing new production lines. The key is that it's inexpensive. After mass production, it can be controlled under 10,000. Director Su is already preparing to form a marketing team. My decision to have you resign was brilliant, right? You should thank me, otherwise. Who knows when you might be laid off? Alright, you're brilliant. Thank you. Li Hong replied dismissively, holding her phone and not knowing what to play with. The alarm rang, and the water in the pot began to boil. Zheng Fan went to the kitchen to boil the dumplings. Zheng Fan, boil one more for Su Lu. She's coming over to eat. Li Hong shouted from the sofa. Got it. The meat dumplings took a bit longer to cook. It took nearly 10 minutes for them to float, then added some cold water to continue boiling for another 3 minutes. He lifted the lid and turned down the heat to simmer for another 3 minutes, and it should be about done. He fished one out, blew on it, bit into it, and confirmed it was cooked. He turned off the electric pot, grabbed a big plate, and scooped out all the dumplings, filling 3 plates. Just as the dumplings were served on the table, the doorbell rang. Li Hong went to open the door, and Su Lu arrived right on time. Haha, I came at the perfect moment. Su Lu laughed, and then headed straight to the kitchen to grab vinegar and garlic. You have a dog-ass nose. Coming over because you smelled it. Li Hong followed and took out chopsticks. Zheng Fan took out 3 bowls, sprinkled some salt at the bottom, tore a few pieces of seaweed, grabbed a handful of dried shrimp and chopped cilantro, and poured dumpling soup into the 3 bowls, making seaweed soup. What made you think of coming over for a meal today? Zheng Fan brought out the soup and asked. Su Xian isn't home today, and no one is cooking. I didn't want to order takeout, and just happened to catch your wife's post on social media, so here I am. Su Lu explained while eating. Look at you, did you skip lunch? Li Hong asked. You guessed it right. I just got out of bed after 2 in the afternoon and was thinking about having dinner together. Who knew Su Xian called and said they wouldn't be coming back tonight? I was just worrying about how to solve the dinner issue. Well, at least you're saving food. 1 meal a day is enough for you. Zheng Fan laughed. I can still earn my own money. I'm not clingy at all. Rich guy? How about considering supporting me? Su Lu teased, her eyes sparkling as she looked at Zheng Fan. Not considering it. 1 Li Hong is enough for me. Zheng Fan quickly distanced himself. Su Lu nudged Li Hong with her elbow. Wow. You've trained him well. Li Hong gave Su Lu a light tap on the head with her left hand. Can you be a bit more serious? We're all familiar with each other. Why act formal? Isn't that tiring? Su Lu shrugged it off. Alright. You have a point, but dumplings won't stop you from talking. Li Hong said helplessly. Zheng Fan stopped responding and focused on eating dumplings. The 2 large plates of dumplings were finished off by the 3 of them, and the seaweed soup was also gone. It's been so long since I had such delicious dumplings. You 2 have to call me next time you eat dumplings. No eating alone. Su Lu insisted. After gathering the plates and utensils to wash them, Li Hong followed, but Zheng Fan pushed her out. You don't need to help. Go keep your good friend company. The dishes were quickly cleaned, and Su Lu and Li Hong took up the center of the sofa without any decorum. Zheng Fan tried to cross over to the study, but Su Lu pulled him back to sit at the side. Where do you think you're running off to? You're visiting, and you don't even say you'll keep me company. Are you afraid I'll eat you? Su Lu complained. It's inconvenient for me to be here while you two best friends chat privately. Zheng Fan replied helplessly. You've seen all of me. You've touched every part of me. What's inconvenient about that? I don't mind. Why should you? Su Lu leaned back on the sofa, boldly questioning him. Li Hong was displeased. All right, you little rascal, stop bullying our Zheng Fan. I don't like that. I'm just a weak woman. How could I bully a big man? I'm just asking for a favor. Su Lu retorted. What favor? Just say it. I'm listening, Zheng Fan asked. Rich guy? If you have a way to make money, bring your sister along. Su Lu's eyes lit up again, and she placed her hand on Zheng Fan's leg. Did you hear something? Zheng Fan countered, feeling puzzled. Only a few people knew about the financial software. No one should have leaked it. What news? Do you really have a way to make money? Su Lu blinked and pressed further. I recently developed a stock trading software, and am currently testing it on a small scale. Zheng Fan answered honestly, not planning to hide it for long. I want to test it too, count me in. Su Lu immediately exclaimed, her hand moving from Zheng Fan's leg to his arm, shaking it nonstop. Li Hong couldn't take it anymore and pinched Su Lu's arm. Didn't you hear him say it's a small-scale test? Aren't you afraid of losing all your savings? Chapter 91. Fast forward? Su Lu swatted Li Hong's hand away, poking her finger at her head. Women can't fall in love. They always get dumb when they do. How did I become dumb? In the past 6 months, the intelligent customer service, autonomous driving, the cute rabbit project, your healthcare robot. And now the games they've launched have all been unexpectedly successful. Su Lu clearly has her own judgment. Just because something was successful before doesn't mean it will be successful again, right? Li Hong was unconvinced. Of course, those who benefit early will gain the most. That betting software last time made me easily earn enough for a house. I could never afford a house just relying on that little income from live streaming. Su Lu felt deeply about it. Zheng Fan interrupted their argument. All right, stop arguing. If you want to try, I can let you. But making money temporarily doesn't guarantee you'll always make money. Just don't blame me if you lose, and keep it confidential for now. Have you lost money in the tests? Su Lu blinked and asked. Not yet. Then that's great. Hurry and give it to me. Zheng Fan took out his phone, sent Su Lu a software, and taught her how to install it, how to register for stock trading accounts, forex accounts, futures accounts, etc. In addition to the normal operation risks, these platforms also come with risks like bankruptcy, operational errors, and fund freezes. This is also a form of gambling. If you make money, withdraw it in time. Don't get too carried away. Zheng Fan earnestly reminded her. Got it. Su Lu, being a streamer, was quick with her phone, directly transferring 200,000 from her bank account and setting it for high return, high risk. So what I said was all for nothing. You didn't listen. 200,000. If I lose it, I'll just consider my 6 months of streaming wasted. If I make money, then I'll take a 6-month vacation. Haha. Thank you, moi. After saying this, Su Lu suddenly kissed Zheng Fan on the cheek, leaving a clear lipstick mark. This sudden action made him stiffen, his mind going blank, thinking, this girl is too bold, being flirty and bullying our honest Zheng Fan. Li Hong pinched her best friend but hard. Ouch, what a strong sourness. I'll head back to my palace, so I won't disturb your couple time. After sending Su Lu to the elevator, Li Hong looked at Zheng Fan and smiled. You're not going to wipe off that lipstick? Saving it for a slow saver? What lipstick? Zheng Fan wiped his face with his hand, and then noticed the marks Su Lu left, quickly heading to the bathroom to wash it off. An even more embarrassing incident happened later. Zheng Fan, who hadn't been dreaming much lately, actually had a spring dream, causing him to wet the bed while sleeping naked, only realizing it was sticky in the morning. Thankfully, since Li Hong was preparing for pregnancy and they each had their own quilt. Otherwise, he would definitely have been found out, which would have been even more embarrassing. Getting out of bed quietly, he hugged the quilt and ran to the living room. Took off the duvet cover, felt relieved that the quilt inside was dry, changed into a spare duvet cover, and carefully placed it back on the bed. He stuffed a few pieces of yesterday's clothes into the washing machine and started it. Watching the washing machine spin for a while, Zheng Fan decided to continue exercising. Every time he went to the gym, he rarely looked around, heading straight to the corner where his usual treadmill was. Hey, Zheng Fan, pretending not to see me, huh? To his surprise, Su Lu, who usually slept until noon, also appeared here. Just now, I really didn't see you. Why did you get up so early today? Zheng Fan stopped in his tracks, looking at Su Lu, who was dressed in sportswear with a high ponytail. There was no live stream yesterday, so I went to bed early and got up early to exercise. Then you go ahead and exercise. I need to work out too. Zheng Fan said as he walked to his usual treadmill, set the parameters, and started running. Su Lu went to a treadmill next to him, set it to a walking speed, and watched Zheng Fan run. In 2 or 3 minutes, Zheng Fan's treadmill showed he had run over 300 meters. I didn't expect it. You look so chubby, but you run pretty fast. Su Lu said with an incredulous expression. If you come to exercise every day, you could run fast too. Zhang Fan replied. I don't have your stamina. By the way, with that look of yours, did Li Hong ignore you last night? Su Lu teased. Zhang Fan focused on running, pretending he didn't hear her. Could it be that someone is a quick shooter, just 1, 2, 3, and done? After walking for 20 minutes, Su Lu got tired and decided to take a break. Zhang Fan continued running for 40 minutes, slowing down as his body warmed up, and prepared to go have breakfast. To his surprise, Su Lu was still watching him. When he stopped running, she quickly came over with her phone to take a picture of the display screen on the treadmill, saying, Look, I ran nearly 20 kilometers in 40 minutes. You should take this seriously. Who are you chatting with? Don't use me as your background. Zhang Fan said a bit unhappily. Who else? Talking to your wife. So she can care about you more. Less of your temper, no need to thank me. I'm just this kind-hearted. Su Lu laughed. It's not like you think. We're doing fine. Zhang Fan felt a bit speechless. What do you think I think? I can't afford to mess with you. I'm leaving. What a coincidence. I'm leaving too. Zhang Fan had breakfast, and Su Lu sat down at the same table to eat. He packed some food to take back to the community, and she followed him. When Zhang Fan entered the elevator, she stepped in behind him. Aren't you living in that building? What a coincidence, it's the weekend. I'm going to visit my best friend. Su Lu smiled. When they got home, Li Hong was already up and doing laundry. Zhang Fan saw the sheets and clothes he had put in the washing machine were already clean and hanging on the balcony. Li Hong smiled at him, and Zhang Fan felt it had a deeper meaning. Su Lu entered the house as if she were back home, taking off her shoes and collapsing onto the sofa. Your sofa is so comfortable. Where did you buy it? I'll go buy a set tomorrow. Eat your breakfast while it's hot. I'm going to play some games. Zhang Fan placed the plastic bag on the dining table and reminded Li Hong, who was hanging the clothes. Got it. I'll eat after I finish hanging the clothes. Hey. Can you respect this single person here? Stop flaunting your happiness in front of me. After a few days without entering the game, his character was still in a meditative state. He couldn't see, hear, or feel anything, just a sense of emptiness, unable to feel his body or the passage of time. He couldn't even escape from the feeling of being disconnected from his soul. Zhang Fan silently called out for Xiaozhu, waiting for a long time without any response. Could it be that she is already? Shouldn't dying mean one gets to choose a new career and be reborn? Some things are better left unthought. Zhang Fan simply didn't want to deal with that woman, Su Lu. He admitted she was quite alluring, which made it even more important to keep his distance. Lying in the game pod, he was lost in thought, feeling no sense of the passage of time. The air inside connected with the outside, so it didn't feel stuffy. The supportive 360-degree surround airbag made him feel as if he were floating in zero gravity in space. It was just like that day when he took a nap on the bed. He felt as if he hadn't slept at all, yet an entire afternoon had passed. This time was the same. It felt like he had just entered the game pod when the reminder device went off. His default setting was 6 hours, meaning he came in around 7 in the morning, and now it was already afternoon? Chapter 92, My Happiness After Exiting the Game Pod. He checked the time and realized it was indeed 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He had been daydreaming inside for 6 hours, doing nothing. Yet it felt like such a short time. Was his brain's biological clock malfunctioning? Entering the living room, he found that Su Lu had not left yet. She was still lounging on the sofa while Li Hong was bringing out dishes from the kitchen. You must be thinking, why hasn't this woman left yet? Su Lu asked with a smile. Let us just have lunch together. Zhang Fan changed the subject. It's not like you made the food, so you don't need to pretend to be generous. Li Hong made rice, stir-fried spicy and sour potato strips, cabbage with shredded meat, and scrambled eggs with tomatoes. The three of them enjoyed the meal heartily. I can't believe your company is so stingy. They don't even offer discounts for employees buying game pods. Su Xian spent more than a month's salary on one. Su Lu suddenly said while eating. That is not my fault. It's the new rule set by her boss, Gao Hua. Employees can order at least 5 units internally, which is already a significant benefit. Many people outside can't even buy one at a markup. Zhang Fan replied casually. Can you resell them at a markup? WeVE implemented real-name purchasing and limited transfer times to reduce the impact of scalpers, but the demand is too high to avoid it. This girl is complaining about being poor, but one can easily sell it for an extra 20 or 30,000. Su Lu said indignantly. She probably gave her quota to friends and feels embarrassed to mark up the price. Zhang Fan didn't believe Su Xian was that calculating. You know her quite well. How long have you two lived together? Don't you know her better than I do? To be honest, she does seem like that kind of person. A bit clueless. Li Hong said unhappily. Are you two going to keep eating or not? If not, I'll clear the table. Su Lu and Zhang Fan exchanged a glance and quickly fell silent, focusing on their food. After finishing the meal, Zhang Fan took the initiative to clear the dishes and wash them in the kitchen. When he finished and came out, the two women were chatting on the sofa again, seemingly unable to finish whatever topic they had been discussing all day. Rich guy, I heard you're going bungee jumping in Guizhou during the May Day holiday. Take me along. Let me broaden my horizons. Su Lu called out as he came out. I have a name. Could you stop calling me rich guy all the time? Isn't that a way to show respect? Then I thank your ancestors for 8 generations. Zheng Fan laughed, sitting on the far side of the sofa. Why sit so far away? Afraid I might eat you? Very afraid. What do you do all day at home? Sneakily watching streamers? Spending money in the live room? Su Lu teased curiously. Li Hong laughed and said, just because you're a streamer, do you think everyone in the world is watching your broadcasts? I'm not that arrogant. Nor do I have the courage to stream on such platforms. Zheng Fan ignored them and took out his phone to scroll through the news. Are there many platforms for live streaming? Li Hong asked. I stream on one platform, but unfortunately, your husband isn't interested and hasn't come to support me all this time. Su Lu replied. Isn't your live room full of big spenders? Does it really matter if he doesn't come? It's a pity that the wealthy ones just want to sleep with me, while those without money want to marry me. Su Lu sighed. Your thinking is problematic. You can't just measure a person by money. It's more about their internal character, Li Hong advised. What era are we in? Character doesn't put food on the table. The better the character, the worse off they seem. Su Lu retorted. That's too extreme. You can't rely on anyone. Only money is dependable. I'm focused on making money. And once I have enough, I'll retire and travel everywhere. When I'm old, I'll just go to a nursing home. Su Lu expressed her thoughts. How much do you consider enough? I currently spend 200,000 a year. I'm 30 this year, and if I live to 70, I need 8 million. Su Lu calculated simply. Why not sell your house and retire then? Where would I live? Li Hong asked. You travel everywhere, and when you're old, you go to a nursing home. Why do you still need a house? I can't just travel all the time. Once I get tired of playing, I need to go home. That's simple. Just move to a smaller city. You can buy a decent house for 1 million or 2. And living expenses will be lower. Oh no, you don't look up to me, your poor friend anymore. Trying to chase me away in different ways. Li Hong, you've changed. Su Lu lamented. Who is trying to chase you away? You're just living too anxiously. Am I anxious? Everyone around me lives like this. You two are the only exceptions. I remember you used to be quite optimistic. Now that you have your own house and a higher income, why aren't you happier than before? Li Hong countered. Su Lu was suddenly at a loss for words. Yeah, why is that? I have more money than before, but I'm less happy. Every day I wake up to stream, and when I'm tired, I sleep. How long has it been since I took a break for myself? We work to earn money for a better life. If your life is just about making money, then it's all backwards. What joy can there be? Zheng Fan said. Of course, you two can say that without feeling any pain. Su Lu was silent for a long time before finally saying something. You're a little wealthy now too, with our country's population of 1 billion. Your wealth exceeds that of at least 1.3 billion people. Don't you think those poorer than you are suffering? Zheng Fan retorted. Oh, let us not discuss these heavy topics anymore. I can't win against you. Su Lu was momentarily speechless and resorted to a bit of a sulk. Li Hong said, why don't you check how much of the 200,000 you have left from yesterday? Are you hoping I lose money? Su Lu replied as she took out her phone and opened the app. My happiness has arrived. After Su Lu finished speaking, she wanted to hug Zheng Fan, but was avoided. She turned around and hugged Li Hong, giving her a kiss, then stood up to dance, shouting excitedly while dancing. How much did you earn? Look at how beautiful you are. Li Hong asked after Su Lu's excitement calmed down. Guess. Su Lu deliberately refused to answer, teasing her. How could I possibly guess? Zheng Fan chimed in. How much do you think? Between 50 to 60, right? Zheng Fan estimated. Over 800,000, quadrupled. Su Lu exclaimed. Haha, is this software for real, or are you kidding me? Su Lu suddenly asked, feeling a bit uncertain. Is it really that much? Now it was Li Hong's turn to be skeptical. Look. Su Lu handed her phone to Li Hong, pointing out the numbers. This is just a number. You need to withdraw it to your bank account for it to count as your money. Zheng Fan reminded her. Then I'll try to withdraw. Su Lu said as she operated her phone, attempting to withdraw 500,000 to her bank account, then immediately opened online banking to check her balance. You're too anxious. It won't be that quick. You first have to clear the stocks, then transfer to the bank. It takes at least a few minutes, and it could even take hours. As soon as Zheng Fan finished speaking, Su Lu's phone chimed with a text message. Your bank account ending in 3047 has received 500,000. Su Lu read aloud. This is my happiness. Zheng Fan, I realize I can't live without you. This kind of happiness only you can give me. Saying this, she suddenly jumped onto Zheng Fan and left a kiss mark on his face. Chapter 93, Brainwave Finance. After that day, Su Lu became less focused on her live broadcasts, merely logging on long enough each day before signing off, and taking days off whenever she was in a bad mood. Instead, she frequently visited Li Hong, often eating at their home. However, she was still very discreet. She joked around with Zheng Fan in front of Li Hong, but rarely came over when Li Hong was not home, and when alone with Zheng Fan. She maintained a serious demeanor with few excessive actions. Although she was less serious about her live streaming, her income did not decrease. In fact, it even increased, which was quite inexplicable. Compared to the daily income of hundreds of thousands from the financial software, The earnings from live streaming were negligible, so Su Lu truly didn't care much anymore. She remembered Zheng Fan's advice, withdrawing half of her daily earnings for security. Such good fortune couldn't last forever. It was like a dream, and there would eventually come a day of awakening. She just hoped that when that time came, it wouldn't feel like drawing water with a basket. In the days leading up to the May Day holiday, Lu Yifan held several board meetings, primarily discussing changes to the company structure. While the company rapidly expanded its various businesses, it also ventured into new projects in film and media, financial management, and was about to start large-scale medical projects, among others. 8 new companies were established: Brainwave Holdings, Brainwave Technology, Brainwave Investment, Brainwave Media, Brainwave Medical, Brainwave Driving, Brainwave Games, and Brainwave Finance. Brainwave Holdings wholly owned Brainwave Technology and controlled the other 6 subsidiaries, with Brainwave Technology investing its technology into the other 6 subsidiaries. Gao Hua was appointed as chairman and president. Their original shareholder stakes were converted into shares of Brainwave Holdings, and future employee equity incentives would be converted into shares of the corresponding subsidiaries. The future financing and listing will start with 6 subsidiaries, which will also attract more outstanding talent into the company. The gaming pods, superintelligence, and the soon-to-be-acquired chip company, along with the upcoming computing power center, all fall under the business scope of Brainwave Technology, with Lu Yifan as the chairman and Su Huiyun as the president. As the business scope expands, there may be more subsidiaries spun off. Brainwave Investment holds stakes in some related companies through technology licensing or equity investment, with Gao Hua concurrently serving as chairman. The first company in which Brainwave Investment has a stake is Jingyun Intelligent, founded by Dong Lei. Currently, the largest investment is still in the contract manufacturing enterprise for gaming pods and several key component manufacturers. Brainwave Media collaborates with film and television companies using superintelligence technology to simulate Earth, sharing profits. Gao Hua also serves as chairman here, and so far, the only formal partnership established is with Tianmin Film, where Huang Zhu is located. Brainwave Medical is focused on the future development of medical robots, surgical robots, and intelligent diagnostic technology, with Su Qin as chairman and Shi Xian as president. Li Hong, having joined early, has played a significant role, directly becoming vice president in charge of testing and promoting medical robots. Brainwave Driving focuses on autonomous driving technology for various vehicles and conducts technology licensing externally, with Su Huiyun serving as both chairman and president. This subsidiary is currently a major profit contributor, with most of the company's income coming from autonomous driving licenses. After its establishment, Brainwave Driving will launch a driverless taxi service, allowing individual vehicle owners with autonomous cars to register and rent out their vehicles during idle times. Superintelligence will handle task distribution, with profits split 90-10, where the company receives 10 and the vehicle owners receive 90. Brainwave Games currently focuses on the operation and maintenance of the Quest for Immortality game, including promotion and marketing, and may collaborate with other game companies in the future to develop more types of games to meet various needs, with Wu Zhen as chairman and president. The Quest for Immortality game has been online for over a month, with registered users exceeding 100 million and revenue surpassing 2 billion, continuing to grow. Many neighboring countries have sent representatives, ready to invest heavily to acquire the gaming agency rights in their respective countries, and negotiations are ongoing. Wu Zhen prefers to establish a joint venture to distribute Quest for Immortality abroad, as the technical requirements for partners in games operated by superintelligence are not high, essentially making it a lucrative opportunity. Brainwave Finance is being established based on a newly acquired securities company with various licenses centered around superintelligence technology. In the future, it will independently or collaborate with other banks and financial institutions to issue and manage various funds, with Gao Hua also serving as chairman and Feng Mei hired as president. The stock options of Gao Hua and Su Huiyun have been converted into formal shares of Brainwave Holdings, and they also hold a certain percentage of equity earnings in 7 subordinate companies. Due to his special status, Zheng Fan will simultaneously serve as the chief technical advisor for the 7 subsidiaries, holding a 10 equity stake in each company. Originally, it was planned for those working in the subsidiaries to hold a portion of the shares individually. However, Zheng Fan was the first to oppose this idea, feeling it would make them too conspicuous as individual shareholders. As a result, the shares would be held by the parent company on behalf of the individuals, who would continue to enjoy their rights. Zheng Fan himself did not care about the income and could not stop others from making money, so he refrained from opposing it further. With the establishment of the financial company, the testing software supported by superintelligence could no longer be used. In the future, it would be officially released in a paid software format, with a cap set on the yield to reduce the risk of large-scale usage. Even with a capped annual yield of 10%, it would still be significantly higher than bank fixed deposits, making it quite attractive for funds. When Uebao was first established, It took advantage of the overnight large deposit policy from banks, setting an annual yield of around 6%, and expanded to nearly 2 trillion in scale in just over a year, causing a rush in demand for regular deposits at major banks. Currently, the financial software only utilizes fund appreciation, with the funds held in several major banks, but the scale of over 1 trillion is already quite influential. In the future, multiple funds will be established and managed, and the capital controlled by superintelligence will certainly not be smaller than any bank. Due to the powerful capabilities demonstrated by the financial software during a testing period of over 10 days, combined with Feng Mei's special background, the financial company became the first subsidiary to introduce external funding. The registered capital of the company is 10 billion RMB, with the parent company holding 50% of the shares, while the technology company holds 20% through superintelligence technology. Other entities, such as Huajin Company, Social Security Funds, and 4 major banks, hold the remaining 20% through actual capital investment, with the last 10% of shares divided among more than 20 domestic and international investment companies. The establishment of the financial company only caused minor ripples in the industry, occupying the headlines of financial news for a day before quickly fading into silence. The subsequent release of the wealth management software, Brain Finance, also had little social impact but created a sensation among urban white-collar workers and the middle class accustomed to financial management. The functionality of this software has been greatly simplified, and Brain Finance now possesses various legal practice licenses, allowing it to conduct transactions in stocks, bonds, funds, futures, and foreign exchange directly. Most people lack the professional knowledge required for these transactions, so the software's main selling point is its automatic wealth management feature, allowing users to deposit money without further involvement while being able to check their earnings and transaction records at any time. The power of superintelligence is evident, generating profits every moment. Unlike other wealth management software that centralizes funds for operation, each account can operate independently based on market conditions while still ensuring overall profitability. The software registration is linked to the game account, requiring identification numbers and passwords for login, with real name verification conducted through the front camera and fingerprint information on mobile devices, limiting each person to one account. The company did not invest in advertising for marketing, relying solely on a small group of individuals to drive word-of-mouth marketing. The download numbers for Brain Finance grew exponentially, reminiscent of the initial growth of another popular app, increasing at a rate of adding a 0 each day. This is not a free software like the Cute Rabbit. Instead, it charges a monthly fee of 100 and an annual fee of 1,002. With no discounts or promotions, each account has a maximum investment limit of 500,000. Any funds exceeding this amount will not be invested, and a 5% fee of the profits will be charged for any withdrawals as company revenue. By the day of the May Day holiday, within less than a week of launching, the number of registrations exceeded 1 million, generating tens of billions in usage fees alone, with over 12 billion in funds transferred and total profits exceeding 100 million. According to the vision of the founder, this software is intended to be an inclusive financial management tool, benefiting every ordinary person, which is why a limit of 500,000 was set, with profits skewed towards smaller accounts. 4 high-value financial clients, a series of stock funds, bond funds, futures funds, and combination funds will be introduced to meet the needs of clients at different levels. Having acquired a securities company, the headquarters of the financial firm was established at the original site of this securities company in the financial district, simply changing the sign before putting it into operation. Elite employees from the original securities company are responsible for client outreach, while the management and establishment of various types of funds are handled by a person in charge, who specializes in this field. The founder has set up communication channels with a superintelligent assistant and established some rules, which he considers completing his task. As the chief technical advisor of the company, the founder also has a lavishly decorated independent office here. But he has spent less than 3 hours working and is ready to leave. Tomorrow is the May Day holiday, and he is still looking forward to going to Guizhou with a colleague, to appear more formal at work. This colleague even bought him an expensive suit and a neat tie, giving him the look of a financial elite, which he feels uncomfortable in. Just as he stepped out of the office, he ran into his colleague. "Are you trying to escape again? I've completed my work. I'm not a full-time employee, so I can leave anytime. How can that be called escaping?" He replied earnestly. "Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. No need to rush. Enjoy your holiday. All right, goodbye. You have to come back on the 5th. Our first batch of funds is officially launching, and you need to be there." She insisted. "It's all set up. It won't matter if I come or not." It does matter. When the company was established, it was low-key, but for the fund launch, we have senior leaders attending. You can't just not show up. "Okay, I got it." He reluctantly conceded. Stepping out of the company, he found himself on the street. Autonomous taxis powered by the financial firm's technology were already on the road. He took out his phone, opened the dedicated app, which displayed a map centered on his location. After entering his destination, it showed information on 5 nearby available taxis, and he randomly selected one. To his surprise, just a few meters to his left, a black BYD flashed its lights. He walked over, opened the door, sat in, closed the door, fastened his seatbelt, and the vehicle slowly started. This was a nearly brand new electric car, with bright labels on the seats saying, "Welcome aboard. Please take care of the vehicle. There are cameras inside." Interestingly, the steering wheel was removed by the car owner, making it clear that no one would be able to steal it. As the vehicle started, an automatic announcement played a recording from the owner, similar to the labels. "Welcome aboard. Please take care of the vehicle. Wish you a pleasant journey. If you need anything, you can communicate with the smart car assistant." Then, soothing music began to play. This world is never short of clever people. Just a few days after the launch of the autonomous taxi service, so many professional taxis have already emerged. It seems that in the future, car steering wheels might become optional equipment. When the vehicle arrived at the entrance of the Jinkyuan community, a voice prompt sounded. "You have safely arrived at your destination. Please take your personal belongings and exit the vehicle. We look forward to your next ride and wish you all the best." This service had nothing to do with Zhang Fan. He took the subway more often than taxis. With ride-hailing services already available, he never thought about competing for business. But this new approach was unexpected, and many companies would likely be in distress. At home, Li Hong had not yet finished work. Excited from just being promoted to vice president, she would have actively worked overtime during the holiday, if not for a prior commitment. However, what was supposed to be a romantic trip for two turned into a group of 3 when Su Lu found out. Later, when Li Hong remembered that her cousin Zhang Shuping was a travel blogger, they ended up with a group of 4. All expenses would be covered by Zhang Fan, who was quite wealthy. The concept of the Golden Week has cooled down in recent years, and the 7-day holiday is no longer the norm. The number of travelers continues to rise, and the prices for flights and hotels are at their highest throughout the year. Not only are the prices high, but reservations must also be made in advance. Otherwise, one can only hope for last-minute cancellations. They planned early, and Zhang Fan had booked the flights and hotels half a month in advance, now just waiting for everyone to gather for departure. Zhang Fan created a group to bring everyone together and sent a message. "Ladies, the flight is at 6 p.m. We need to arrive at the airport by 5 p.m. at the latest. The car will leave at 4 p.m. You have 2 hours to prepare." Zhang Shuping replied, "Brother-in-law, I'll go directly to the airport to wait for you." Su Lu added, "Fan Gu, please help me with my suitcase when we leave. Thank you." Li Hong's message came half an hour later. "Are we leaving this early? I'll head back now." The luggage mainly consisted of a few sets of clothes and some personal items from Li Hong. With mobile payments now ubiquitous, Zhang Fan still prepared 20,000 in cash, along with 1 checked suitcase and 2 carry-on bags. After loading their luggage into the car, Zhang Fan went to Su Lu's building to help her with her bags, which included 2 large suitcases and 2 carry-ons, filled with who knows what. Fortunately, their car's trunk was spacious enough, or it would have been difficult to fit everything. Zhang Fan had booked 4 business class tickets, which included a special security check and a dedicated waiting area. This was his first time enjoying such treatment. By the time they arrived, Zhang Shuping was already waiting in the lounge. After chatting for half an hour in the lounge, someone came over to inform them that it was time to board. Among the 4 of them, Su Lu has the most experience. She takes at least a dozen flights a year, with her tickets reimbursed, and often travels in business class. Zhang Shuping, a novice travel blogger, has just started her journey and mainly explores attractions around the capital. As a travel blogger, she always records everything with her phone. The only man in the micro-travel group, Zhang Fan, was drafted to help, using her dedicated phone holder to shoot from behind, and could relax once the plane took off. Zhang Fan has only flown about 10 times, while Li Hong has the least experience, having flown to her uncle's home in Yunnan just once, which was over a decade ago. Business class seats are a bit more spacious, with better facilities and services, but there isn't much else to note. Their 4 tickets are in the same row, separated only by the aisle, with Zhang Fan and Li Hong on one side, and Su Lu and Zhang Shuping on the other. The flight lasts over 3 hours, but unfortunately, both takeoff and landing are at night. Li Hong, sitting by the window, couldn't see much scenery, and the complimentary dinner served was mediocre with no special features. They arrived in Guiyang at around 9:30 p.m., and after collecting their luggage, it was already past 10 p.m. Fortunately, Zhang Fan had booked a hotel pickup service, and a luxury van took the 4 of them from the airport to the Huangguasha scenic area, which took over an hour. The service at the well-established 5-star hotel was excellent, but by the time they entered their respective rooms, it was already midnight, and all 4 were quite exhausted. They didn't even have time to experience the hotel's signature hot spring baths, and Zhang Fan and Li Hong hurriedly went to bed. Chapter 95. Huangguasha Waterfall. Waking up early for exercise had become a habit. Despite going to bed late yesterday, Zhang Fan's biological clock still woke him up at 6 o'clock. He quietly got out of bed without disturbing the sleeping Li Hong, dressed, and went to the bathroom outside. They were staying in a detached villa suite, but still needed to pass through the hotel lobby to go outside. It was not fully bright yet, but the spacious hotel lobby was already bustling. Today is May Day, and there were several guests checking in early. In the waiting area, some people were seated. The hotel they were staying in is located within the Huanghuashi scenic area, and at this time, some early risers were already out for exercise. After a brief warm-up, Zhang Fan jogged westward from the hotel, reaching a road just a few hundred meters away. There were not many cars on this road, sometimes going several minutes without a vehicle passing by. The road was built along the valley, winding toward the southwest. There were sporadic buildings on both sides of the road, with some featuring ethnic minority characteristics and others in modern concrete styles. The air here is pure and unpolluted, significantly better than that of the capital, making his run feel invigorating. Some early risers looked at Zhang Fan in surprise as he dashed past, following the winding mountain road, passing through 4 or 5 clusters of houses on either side, and even through a tunnel several hundred meters long, finally reaching his travel goal beneath the Bailing River Bridge. The Cross River Bridge on the plain is built in the middle of the riverbank, while this magnificent bridge is constructed between 2 mountain ridges, spanning over 1,000 meters wide river valley, with the approach bridge extending over 200 meters. Standing below in the valley and looking up, one can truly appreciate the grandeur of this bridge. Hundreds of meters above the ground, amidst the morning mist in the valley, a red suspension bridge stretches across, truly resembling a bridge in the sky. He came along the national highway, which passes beneath the bridge. It is said that there is an elevator to reach the bridge, but unfortunately, he arrived a bit early, and the staff had not yet started work. Fortunately, someone from the management office was already up. A middle-aged man in his 40s was cleaning. Upon hearing that he came to try bungee jumping, the man was surprised and said, "You came too early. We haven't started work yet. Besides, that bungee jumping is not officially open yet, so you can't do it." "Why can't I do it? Didn't the news report that it received certification from the Guinness World Records?" Zhang Fan felt frustrated, thinking that it was all for nothing. "It's not completely impossible, but it requires approval from our leaders, and it's quite expensive." The man was quite honest about it. "Can you take me to meet your leaders?" Zhang Fan asked. "It's too early. They haven't come yet. Come back later. Can you give me a contact number? I'll reach out to them later. I just went out for a morning run and should head back." So, Zhang Fan got their phone number and left his contact information before jogging back to the hotel. The round trip was about 14 to 15 kilometers, mainly because the road wound through the mountains. The straight line distance on the map was less than 4 kilometers. He returned to the hotel before 7 o'clock. He had booked the most expensive standalone villa-style suite at this hotel, a 2-story suite, close to 200 square meters, fully equipped with various facilities. He booked 3 suites and paid a deposit of 300,000 for 5 days, which was equivalent to his entire income for the past year. Although Zhang Fan's wealth on paper had exceeded 10 billion, this was his first experience of the pleasure of traveling as a wealthy person. Deep down, he still had the mentality of a former poor person, feeling a sting at the price, but he pretended to be indifferent on the surface. When he arrived in the room, Li Hong was still asleep. Zhang Fan took a shower and then sat on the spacious sofa in the living room, enjoying the beautiful view outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. Zhang Shuping came over with her filming equipment, taking pictures as she walked. Zhang Fan went over to open the door and let her in. "Brother-in-law, this is so lavish. It's my first time staying in a hotel that costs 21,000 a night, a luxury standalone villa in a scenic area. What an eye-opener." Zhang Shuping exclaimed as she finally put away her phone. "It's my first time too, just a newly rich person." Zhang Fan joked about himself. "Is my sister still sleeping? You woke up quite early. Is this early? I've already gone for a run and come back. Have you had breakfast?" "Not yet. Waiting for your sister to get up so we can eat together. Then can you help me take some pictures outside for a while?" Zhang Shuping pleaded. "Sure. I'm just idle anyway." Just a few dozen meters east of the hotel is a commercial street. A short walk to the north leads to the ticket office for the large escalator to the Huanghuashi waterfall, and not far from there is the Baishui River. This street is lined with various shops, including a post office, a police station, restaurants, hotels, and craft stores. Heading south leads to Baishui town. At this time, the street is bustling with people, including tour guides from various travel groups loudly calling out to tourists with megaphones. Zhang Fan walks backward in front, holding a phone stand, while Zhang Shuping talks into her phone, effortlessly introducing the history and origins of Huanghuashi in a standard broadcasting tone, demonstrating her training from a broadcasting academy. With various anecdotes memorized perfectly, starting from the commercial street, they stop frequently to take photos, continuing all the way to the front of the waterfall. After taking pictures of the waterfall for a while, Zhang Shuping finally puts her phone away, satisfied. Currently, the waterfall is neither in the flood season nor in the dry season, yet it still showcases a strong flow, creating a massive mist, with a deafening roar that requires shouting to be heard. After a while, it's enough to see. The high humidity and noise make it unsuitable for a prolonged stay. Just then, Li Hong calls to ask about them. Zhang Fan responds that he is out recording videos with Zhang Shuping and will return shortly for breakfast together. The four of them enjoy a hearty breakfast in the hotel restaurant before officially starting their tour. Besides the waterfall, there are many other beautiful sights, including some man-made attractions, with the most famous being the Journey to the West site, as the television series is well known and replayed annually. Who would dare say they haven't seen or heard of it? That would surely not be a person from this region. The most renowned attractions here include the Water Curtain Cave, the waterfall from the ending theme of Journey to the West, and the stone for the 81 trials. It is said that these were all filming locations back in the day, and along the roadside, there are many artificial statues mimicking scenes from the show, though unfortunately, the craftsmanship